Hello there, everyone. Welcome to Monday night. I should be coming through a little bit quiet, but I should be coming. Oh, that's why. There you go. Now I'm coming through still a little bit quiet, but here I am. Hello and welcome to Monday night. Vampire? Oh my god. Shouldn't we be expecting some Baldur's Gate? Yes, however, Baldur's Gate 3 is great, but I end up wanting breaks. And not just because Emma Stitches and I haven't had. Miss Stitches and I haven't had that much time to get even further. So I wanted to give us a little more breathing room. Volume mixer. Turn down Coteries. Turn up Jimbles. And that should do you. And so if I've been craving Vampire and Chronicles and World of Darkness, or just like a bit of spooky, scary media for a little bit of time, let's have a bit of time with Coteries of New York. Now, we finished at least one playthrough of Night Road. We finished Shadows of New York. Coteries is actually the game that's supposed to be played before Shadows of New York, but it's been on my to-do list for a bit of time, so here we go. I should also note that Emma Stitches, the lovely Emma Stitches, is out of town this week. And so we have a guest in chat, my little guy, Baby K, is just getting a little bit of dad who he hasn't seen maybe like 12 hours? Yeah, 12 hours is about right. Because, fucking hell, God, we were up early. I say we, but Emma Stitches was up early before me to get to the airport in time. And then I did an extra long day at work, took a brief nap, and here we are. Don't have any, like, extra exciting other things to report? Oh, actually, I do have one very cool thing. You should check out our nice little Discord by going !class. It should give you a command and a link to a Discord server. I need to open up what I got. Because I just got a completed commission. Oh, why can't I remember their name? That's awful. Like Game Raccoon, which is GameRaccoon.bluesky.social, who did us an icon, a beautiful little icon, and I'm very excited to show off that nice little icon that you can see on our Discord server. It's just something that kind of matches the vibe here we got going on, right? You know, it's got the Puzzle Plus symbol, which I think is the greatest encapsulation of what's going on here. Jimbles is saying things out loud, but a lot of the time he's getting things wrong and adding things to the Puzzle Plus, which is good fun. But also, it's got a cocktail with a D20 in it. Because while we do talk more than just a regular 20-sided dice, it's the most easily understood and verifiable part of the role-playing community at the moment. Until the D10 catches on, that's what we've got. And all those put together, I mean, it's that or a cup of coffee, and that's pretty... There are lots of images of a dude holding a cup of coffee, right? Instead, let's go with a cocktail, a martini glass, my favorite. You did not take a nap. You flopped on bed and you patted kitties. That's fantastic. I've made several coffee cocktails, and I will do so again because they're just lovely drinks. I won a couple of weeks ago, didn't I? The Revolver, I believe. Lovely Tia Maria and... God, I'm tired. Can you tell that I didn't sleep incredibly well? I took the later shifts so that Emma Stitches could get up early, and I was looking after Baby K, and then slept until about it was time to get ready, and then head off. I've had one caffeinated beverage today, only one. This is my evening decaf, and I do love it very much, but a little bit of kick would be doing me quite well. I mean, I'm not wrong, right, Lotsie? Mean dead people, vampires, that's them all over. I also love the description that Kay is watching and kicking his feet, because that's also something babies do all the time. like a baby's main prerogative, isn't it? Look at things. Go. Yeah. Which he does a lot. He's excellent. And babble, at least for a little bit. Yeah. It's a Baby K impersonation. It is good to see our friends Corey and Comrade here. Oh, I was just leaning back for fun. I am showing off the shirt as well because it's a new one from Caligula Sauce to tie into the new album release. Charcoal Grace, which is an excellent album. That's so far. I've highly enjoyed it. A few tracks about like art, delivery of art in especially music in the COVID times. A 4-track suite about, you know, not getting along with your family or your dad. Specifically, it's a not my dad type of album. That 4-track suite, and it's really good. I highly enjoyed it. I want to sit down and listen to more of it. We're uninterrupted with the lyrics in front of me, and that's a little bit hard to get time sometimes. But otherwise, it's pretty good. Oh. And you brought that up, Emma Stitches. Good idea. We'll get started and do some vampires soon. But I also put on a slow cooked weeknight, low effort curry thing, which is pretty tasty, and that is one of the benefits you can find photos of cooking as well as pets in a good little Discord community, so do come along and join us if and when you can. Otherwise, let's click on the live stream button, say good night to Emma Stitches for a bit of time, and play some vampire. What do you think? Oh yeah, this one supports my controller. I'm going to lean back a little bit, and my wrist has been acting up, so I'm looking forward to less mouse control for a bit. Give you large text side and fast side. How's shoulder? Oh, shoulder is better, that's for sure. It's healed. Not entirely, but quite a lot. I need to take it easy. You know that I think it's going to be okay, but I am also prone to making that decision way too early in life when it comes to every injury, so if I'm not careful, I'll damage it further. That's what I'm trying to avoid. I thought restarting the game may let me use my controller, and that's what I really want. So there's been a minor development when it comes to these vampire tie-in games. There's a VR one. Oh, it's out. No, you do not want me to use my controller. Okay, mouse it is then. Oh my god, we get to choose a clan. Beautiful. Oh, it was so unfun. A nice scream of pain when people turn up. But I can lift a coffee cup. And I drove yesterday too. Ooh yeah. The rabble rebel against power and rage against authority. A seemingly insignificant man with significant ideas will join their ranks tonight. Then true. The aristocratic blue bloods embody wealth, sovereignty, and control. The top-level corporate executive will join their ranks tonight. Toreador. The divas seek thrills of art, romance, and cruelty amidst stagnant undeath. The tormented artist will join their ranks tonight. Oh. Actually, on Bria tonight. Let's go with Eric. I mean, it's a good guess, Comrade. You're totally correct. I swear I felt like Bria, and because of the pins. Mm. What if the soundtrack just changes, Luxy? How does that work? Well, fuck, now we're gonna look it up, don't we? Bam! I think I can go from here. There you go. Your poor brain. That should help, right? It is Spanish for witch. Rouja. Look, I did my best. 10 points to you then. It's got bound cursor, so I can't move it out of the fucking... Anyway. What? New York told me to believe in fate. That's... okay, too much. No. Had you asked me about fate back when I was a human, I would have told you it's all just... Had you asked me about fate back when I was a human, I would have just told you it's superstitious bullshit. We are all designers of our own destinies. I believe shattered when the richest woman in the United States, the actual richest one, not a face you could have seen in the papers, of course, sank her teeth deep into my neck. It happened to the very same place you're standing in right now, by the way. Fate? You decide. Please, there's absolutely no need to be hostile. Just listen a little longer. See, my mistake was that I flew too close to the sun. It makes sense that my punishment was to never see its glow again. I was incandescent myself. I was hot shit. I had it all. Money, looks, confidence, connections, men, women, a career, a spark in my eye, the one you need to be born with. And that's when someone far more powerful than me saw my radiance and thought, that won't do. She robbed me of the light erupting from within and gave me a subtle, enduring gleam in its place. She decided that would fit me much better. She was a ninth generation kindred, just like you, an apex predator. She probably enjoyed teaching me the peak of human excellence, my real place in the food chain. Such an eyesore when you look at some loudmouth braggart and see them for all they really are. The temptation to teach them a lesson can be unbearable, right? Well, my sire's lesson was a lesson about fate. A message saying you're eternally doomed to be at the mercy of your sovereigns. It almost drove me to destroy myself. What saved me was the ability to reinterpret her teachings. Hers wasn't a message of doom, it was a message of hope. Fate exists. One could shape it if given the right tools. My sire didn't believe my tools were fitting for the job. She considered them toys, and me just her amusing subject. Oh, she's deader than dead now, and I'm still here, standing right where she stood when we first met. You might have wondered how I've learned about your arrival to JFK Airport. The answer is, of course, destiny. As luck would have it, today happened to be a day some of my associates were inspecting the coffins. Driving you here straight from the plane and having you wake up in such an unfamiliar place was a little desperate. And I do apologize for it. But it is so rare for you to visit New York. 3 times in the last 15 years, wasn't it? And you're never eager to inform me that you're here. I understand that you still have that meeting on 53rd Street later tonight, so I'll provide a comfortable transport. I value our relationship very much, don't get me wrong. But it is precisely because I value it that I'm going to ask you to repay the favor you owe me. You're the only one I trust to do the job well, without attracting attention. You might think I'm crazy, asking you to breach the rules of our society like this. You might think it's impossible to get away with it unpunished. But this is New York. And I don't know about the other cities, but in this one, fate really exists. And right now, it's smiling in your favor. This is how it begins. The music is pounding and your pulse is keeping pace. This is one of those nights that makes you feel alive, even though it started with you feeling dead. First came the messy breakup, then the realization you have nobody to talk to about how much it sucked. Still, you decided to roll with the punches. On Facebook, search for local events later and you found just the thing for your malaise. Short subway ride and you find yourself at the club just outside Dumbo. Not a fancy one, mind you, more like a slightly refurbished warehouse, but hey, at least the drinks are cheap. TJ seems to really know his shit too, alternating between cutting-edge industrial techno and classic Detroit crowd pleasers, expertly feeling out everyone's mood. An hour passes, then two. Usually you feel awkward coming to a place like this alone, but tonight you find something soothing in joining the crowd, blending in, even as you allow the beat to take over. Sweat, yours, other people's, soaks through your shirt and pants in a matter of minutes. Thought pops inside your head. From the outside, the fully packed club must seem like a stuffy, smelly nightmare, but here, in the thick of it, it becomes exhilarating. And you're not even on a pill tonight. There's a Latina chick whose curves are accentuated by the light dress clinging to her body, and she keeps bumping into you. Something tells you it's only seems incidental. Yeah, it's a good night. You wish it could last forever, because you know all too well what the next day holds. Waking up, getting dressed for work, the commute, the 9-to-5 grind that will make you just enough money to pay the rent and keep living in your overpriced shithole of an apartment. And with Jessica moving out, or will be coming out of your pocket, run some quick calculations in your head and immediately come to regret that you did. Never mind, you spot the Latina again. She's down next to another guy, hitting it off. A chance of not going to bed alone, gone. Just like that. Fuck. Hey, came out your cat. I'm glad you caught us as well. I've been great, that's for sure. Having an excellent time. Trying an active effort to build a Discord server community so we have more of a space to hang out with each other. Being a parent to baby K, even if he's out of town with Emma Stitches for the next few days. And wrenching my shoulder. Not out of its socket, but tearing or straining something a little bit. On Friday evening. Leading to a very, very stressful weekend. But I'm glad to have a really nice Monday, playing a bit of Vampire with everybody, getting my monologue on, refilling those pretentious batteries. Your mood temporarily shot down. You leave the dance floor and stumble your way to the filthy bathroom. You take a look in the mirror and start to wash your face, obsessively, over and over again. A voice from the past echoes in your mind. I've never felt like this with anyone. Seriously, I mean it. I feel like all my relationships up to this point were test runs, a shitty way to compensate for my low self-esteem. But this feels right. Finally. Shut up, Jess. This was the craziest fucking day of my life. God, I need a smoke. Pass me a light. What do you mean cops took the lighter? There's one in your mouth. Just shut the hell up. This is not you. Not anymore. Oh, fuck off. This is so like you. Acting like some sort of Clint Eastwood wannabe when I really, really need you to open up. Ooh, very close. You think you're impressing people with this tough guy act? Fuck you. I know how broken you really are. You need therapy. Yeah. That sounds like the Jessica of today. You raise your head and look in the mirror. You try to smile, but all you can muster is a self-pitying grin. And there she is, Latina from before. And Kat, welcome aboard. I hope you've been well too. I haven't seen you in a little bit of time. She says you look like you need a drink. You hesitate for a second or two and then blurt out a surprisingly enthusiastic, yeah. They start to talk. It quickly becomes evident that she's into politics and you are eager to please. You might be a corporate drone, but you spend a lot of evenings reading theory, actual theory, not bastardized Twitter cliff notes, and organizing for all manner of courses online. The status quo sucks. There must be something better. She agrees. You seem to subscribe to the same progressive political theories, have compatible ideas about the DSA's missteps, and even watch the same YouTube channels. Your goals are aligned. She's a bit more radical than you'd have guessed. You attended a few rallies, been to a few protests, but this girl sounds like she broke her share of faces and kicked more than a couple of cops in the nuts over the course of her activist career. Her zeal is infectious. She taps into a pent-up anger that you didn't know you had. The noisy club stops working for you both, so you hit the streets. Just as you're leaving, the DJ starts playing All the Things She Said by Tatu. Of course, you chuckle to yourself, trying not to slip into a bad headspace. She chuckles along with you. It's chilly outside, but soon enough you find yourself too invested in listening to the girl's voice to care about anything else. Oh, it sucks to have COVID. I'm glad I've managed to avoid it so far, but it knocked down my stitches around. I realize you've been holding hands for a while. The subway car is empty, save for a stoic middle-aged couple or drunk staring intently at her feet. Plenty of room to stretch out, and yet she sits right next to you. You can feel her thigh pressing into yours, her breath on the side of your neck. Maybe it's the booze talking, but you distinctly hear your voice asking if she'd like to crash at your place. I've got a better idea, she says. At this point, you're down for anything as long as it lets you spend just a few more minutes with her. Yes, there it is. She takes you to a sleazy motel in the Bronx, trading a few words with the balding, tired-looking guy at the front desk. He hands her a key. Still holding your hand, the woman leads you up the stairs. The room you end up in is almost comically stereotypical, complete with flaking paint and a sticky floor. Not that it matters, though. The moment you step through that door, she's on you. You try to take the lead, but she's having none of it. Before you know it, you feel the rickety bed pressing against your back. It's sloppy, fun, fierce, and not once does she lose the initiative. Hands reach under her t-shirt. Strange, it didn't look like she was cold outside, but now her skin feels eerily cool. As if sensing your confusion, she slaps your hands off her. Oh, missed my face. Well, trying the club, right? Hilariously, the icon that I commissioned is not my face. But cheers to Comrade who found an excellent still for us to use as an icon for a bit of time. God, I love vampires. She kisses your neck. You're overwhelmed by the sensation. Darkness. The taste of liquid fire and smoke on your tongue. Her voice saying, "Sorry, kid, I just did what I had to do to lead the city in one piece. But don't worry, with my blood and your principles, you're gonna do just fine." Slams the motel room door behind her as she leaves. You lie helpless on a soiled, pungent mattress for some time. Minutes? Hours? Before you can focus enough to try and piece together your evening, it hits you. The big hunger. It grips you by the throat and makes your inside shrivel in terror. It's an all-encompassing emptiness that throws you on all fours. You crawl for a while, squirm on the floor in sundering pain, then jump to your feet and bust out the door. You black out. This isn't the room you saw when you last closed your eyes. Somebody curses at you, a small, naked, buff dude holding a short leather whip. Wow, what a goofy motherfucker. He throws a punch. He yells out several slurs. He hits you in the jaw. You black out again. The guy isn't moving anymore. There's blood on his neck. There's blood on his arms. There's blood on the floor. There's blood everywhere. Wow, whoever did this is one sick puppy. You realize you're sitting on top of his corpse. You hear a whimper. Someone else is there, a woman. Her arms are tied to the bed frame, an eye mask over her face, red marks on her back. This time you see it happen. You want to stop but can't. She almost manages to get a scream out, but it dies in her throat as you bite into the side of her neck. You drink. Blood. You're drinking blood. You could swear you feel her life force escaping her body, entering yours. Suddenly terrified, you tear away from her. She's not moving, but she's breathing. There's barely a mark on her neck. The guy on the floor, though. You double over in a spasm, realizing what you did. You feel like throwing up, but can only gag. Panic sets in as another realization dawns on you. Your heart is not beating. You put 2 fingers to your wrist, but feel no pulse. Same thing on the neck. Nothing. There is no breath coming out of your mouth. You have to get out. Get someone to call an ambulance. For yourself, at least. Probably too late for the dude on the floor. Did you really kill him? What a mess. You look up. The door to the room is ajar. A tall, handsome, broad-shouldered man fills the entire frame. He brushes an imaginary speck of dirt off his perfectly tailored suit. Choices, friends. Here we are back again with a lovely Choose Your Own Adventure novel. I love these little monologues. I love the beautiful, evocative writing, and, like, melodramatic, of course. It's not good because it's subtle. Like gameplay of these. Forgot the publisher's name, even though I looked at it a couple times. It's good. Something blurry vision? Anyway, I'll take a look. And, like, I haven't played Dark Urge yet. In Baldur's Gate 3. When I get over how many times I've played Act 1, I'll probably give it another go. With the accidentally murdering people, it's not... I feel like they're doing very well when it comes to implementing themes and bits from Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. That's as far as I'll say. This is not what it looks like. Hey, man, this isn't what it looks like. That's good to hear, because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're in a world of trouble. He surveys the room, not moving an inch from where he's standing. He shakes his head in mock concern. Murder? Assault? It's 25 to life if you're lucky, but since you're not, it's a death sentence. He takes a glance at his expensive-looking watch. Lucky for you, it's been a slow night, otherwise I might not have gotten here in time. Come on, the sun comes up in a few hours. You don't want to be around here when it does. Fuck you, I'm not going anywhere. Fuck you, man, I'm not going anywhere with you. An angry scowl appears on his face. Language, whelp. The man approaches you and starts talking. His tone remains unnaturally calm. Oddly enough, you find it both soothing and slightly unnerving. Now listen to me, I know this is all new to you, but I've dealt with hundreds of strays like you. And going by experience, they tend to fall into two categories. First, there are smart ones who carefully obey my every word and don't try to pull off something stupid. I always get them where they need to be, safe and sound. And then there are the dumb ones. The punks who thought they could take me on, the wise guys who tried to contact somebody, secretly, without permission, the troublemakers who tried to run off or make a scene. None of them got to their destination in one piece. In fact, most of them never reached their destination at all. His voice becomes slightly bored and monotone. You can tell he's given this speech before, likely dozens of times. So you see, while I generally consider myself pretty smart, I'm also a Mets fan. That's my one true weakness, one that inspired me to come up with a 3-strike system when dealing with pups like you. You get on my nerves once or twice, well, I understand not all of us perform well in stressful situations. Cross me 3 times and you're out. No excuses, no forgiveness, no mercy. As he's talking, he slowly approaches you, adding a bit of theatrical swagger to his walk. Eventually he leans in, deliberately invading your personal space. Realize it's a test. He's daring you to do something about it. 3 strikes, and you're out. Say, I understand, sir. Now! You've never been too eager to bend the knee to anyone, but this... there's something else. The man's very presence instills a primal fear in your heart. I understand, sir. Glad we have an understanding. Moving on, is there anyone you'd want to inform of your current situation? Tell them you're all right? Which person is the wanker? He flashes his fangs briefly, and for some reason the sight sends a chill down your spine. There is something very wrong about him. Someone closest to you? Lie out your ass. Jerry. Yes. And who is this Jerry? Your frantic mind is drawing a blank. Well, Jerry is a man of many faces. Stranger gives you a tired stare. Lying to me is a strike, whelp. My ex-girlfriend? Jessica. My ex-girlfriend. She kind of hates my guts, but yeah, I suppose it would be her. Stranger gives you a puzzled look and decides to prod further. Closest person in your life hates your guts. This time something resembling a look of pity. He turns his eyes to the corpse on the floor. When it rains, it pours, I suppose. Well, if you'd like to ruin her day and let her know you're right, give me her phone number. I'll have someone take care of it. Discreetly, of course. You hand him your smartphone so you can copy the number from your list of contacts. Thank you. This will be useful in illustrating my next point. Instead of giving you back your phone, the man hides it in his pocket. From this point on, you are subject to different laws than the ones you grew up under, and you'll be watched by many eyes to ensure these laws are respected. You are forbidden from letting anyone know you're still alive. You are forbidden from showing your face anywhere they know you. If anyone comes looking for you, it's over for both you and them. He interrupts his monotone recitation and stares deep into your eyes. So unless you want your girlfriend to end up at the bottom of the Hudson, I suggest you cooperate. Proudly displays his fangs again. You've put Jess in danger. God damn it. I can only hope you care for her enough not to do anything selfish. His words are meant to imply otherwise, but by now it's obvious. He hates your guts as much as you hate his. He's itching for a fight, and you're almost willing to oblige. Alright, I think that's enough lecturing for today. We're on a bit of a schedule here. Now, I don't need to hurt you, but I can do so in the blink of an eye. Just so we're clear, I have the authority to end you right here, right now. This is not an idle threat. So, are you going to play along, or do we have to do it the hard way? Setting up the volume a little bit. Just gonna follow him, I guess. You're weighing your chances, but it doesn't look promising. The guy's fit, determined, and looks like he means business. You, on the other hand, are confused, exhausted, and on the verge of a panic attack. Fine. Yeah, I'll go with you. He almost looks disappointed. A wise decision. Follow me, please, and close the door behind you. Take one final look at the woman. He's just coming to, at the body of the ground. You take one final look at the woman who's just coming to, at the body on the ground. This is fucked. Absolutely fucked. You pull the handle and close the door. The man leads you downstairs. He contemplates signaling the board guy at the front desk, but he's too busy watching some 90s action flick on a small, ancient-looking TV. He seems totally oblivious to your presence. You hear dejected Jean-Claude Van Damme say, "I just want to go home," as you're walking by. Your would-be kidnapper stops by the door and addresses you before opening it. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, as soon as he opens the door, I'll make you run for it. Maybe I can outrun him. I'll save you the trouble. You can't. You can either get inside my car and I'll get you to where you need to be, or you can try something stupid that you'll regret later. Do I make myself clear? Why don't you turn me in? Because no one would benefit from that. Besides, I have my orders. So I bet it's absolutely, in this visual novel, entirely possible to get 3 strikes in that first conversation and get killed. I also bet you'll probably get an achievement for it. I know because you can die in the very beginning of Shadows of New York as well. He opens the door and gestures to a black Cadillac Escalade parked right outside the building. After you. Following the stranger's instructions, you make your way to the car and get in the back seat. The door locks behind you. Inside, the Cadillac is almost entirely dark. The side windows seem light-proof. The man gets in the driver's seat, starts the engine, and drives away without another word. Did I die? This is the afterlife, isn't it? You're not entirely wrong, but it's not what you think. He weighs his next words carefully. You'll have to forgive me. I'm not in the mood to wax poetic about the state you're in or my role in tonight's events. Just remember, if you want to survive the next 24 hours, you'll have to play along. Man, this is bullshit. Why does everything have to be a fucking riddle? Well, riddle me this. Who's gonna get their teeth smashed into their brain if he doesn't shut up? Understand that this is for your own good. Times being what they are, you should consider yourself lucky. You drive in silence for about 20 more minutes. As exhaustion catches up with you, the streetlights fade into a blur. Eventually the car stops and the doors open. You emerge from your dreamlike state and find yourself in some kind of underground parking garage. You two are the only ones here. Whew, that's a great background. Man, look at that. The man points to a nearby door. Go in. Make yourself comfortable. If you get hungry, again, take a look in the fridge. I'll pick you up tomorrow, and you'll get your answers. Behind the door is a small room. No windows, just a simple bed and a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. A small fridge is humming away in the corner, accompanied by a rattling AC fan on the wall. No way I'm going in there. We both know you are. Remember when I said you were lucky? I meant it. See, my job is to get rid of problems, but I'm not always as polite about it. This time I was specifically told to mind my manners. So believe me when I tell you, considering how this night could have turned out, being stuck in here for a night is a really good deal. Now get in, or I'll throw you in. Step inside. The stranger nods. Good night. Hold on. That's it. Good girl. Good Celsi. Big done. There you go, Mama. He closes the door behind you. It looks sturdy, but he's locking it. But as he's locking it, you notice claw marks all over. Looks like some previous guests weren't satisfied with their stay. Decide not to dwell on it and check the fridge. There's a single plastic bag there filled with red liquid, no label. Tomato soup? You feel sick to your stomach. Best to leave it for now. You lie down on the bed. It's a simple mattress on a metal frame. You can't help but think it looks exactly like the one back at the hotel with the bound woman. Alright. You killed a man tonight. Well, did you? Maybe none of this is real. Maybe it's all an elaborate prank. Girl at the club, Jess might have put her up to it. The tall guy's clearly in on it too. Now he's back with them and they're all laughing their asses off. You don't know what to think anymore. Your mind races, but you're too tired to keep it going. Finally, you tense up one last time before drifting away into oblivion. You wake up. That in itself is a surprise. You barely remember when you drifted off. It doesn't feel quite like sleep, more like plummeting into an endless void. You imagine that's how death feels. The room is unchanged. The lamp is still on, the AC is still rattling, the refrigerator is still humming. You take a look at your watch. It's almost 9 p.m. You slept for 17 hours straight. Maybe you died. Your breath is gone and you feel no thumping in your chest. Does that qualify as dead if you're still conscious? You're not sure about that, but you are certain about one thing. You are hungry. It's not your stomach rumbling, though. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You open the fridge, the bag is still there. You take a closer look at it. If it is soup, then its color and texture are off. You pull the cork out, take a whiff. You recognize the smell immediately. Holy shit. There's no mistaking it. It's bagged blood. The smell is faint and you remember some situations in the past where you found it nauseating, but now it's almost... No, not almost. It is enticing. drink the blood. Feels wrong. But right now, there's barely anything in your life that doesn't. To hell with it. You pour a bit of the blood, or you pour a bit of the liquid into your mouth. Tastes bland. Reminds you of cheap supermarket juice. Just enough flavor to register as what it claims to be in the box, but nothing like the real thing. Nothing like what you had the last time. You swallow it. Somehow you don't feel sick. In a weird, messed up way, you can't help but think it feels nourishing. Take a few more sips, and then just another one. Suck on the bag a little more. Eventually you find you've emptied it entirely. You look at the info pressed into the side of the bag. 450 ml of it. Even with its blandness, you still feel like having more. You realize your body longs for that intoxicating high you felt when an image of that corpse crosses your mind, causing you to wince. What have you become? It gets sent to you as a PM. Check your messages on Twitch. And if not, bot's off. And that happens. It's really irritating. Clapbot's on. That's an excited sound. I think we're getting somewhere. Try to piece your thoughts together and make sense of it all when you hear the lock click and see the door open. Cat? Hey, Hermit. Hope you like some vampires. Yeah, that'd do it. Try to piece your thoughts together and make sense of it all when you hear the lock click and see the doors open. Standing there is a well-dressed stranger you met yesterday. Immaculate suit again. That predatory look like a hawk on the hunt, but somehow more relaxed tonight. It's like a tamed hawk, maybe. Good evening. Slept well? He notices the discarded empty bag. I see you had a bit of a snack. Was that really? Type RH0 positive. Not that easy to get. Glad you liked it. Come on, we've got places to be. The car is humming in the empty parking lot just outside the door of the cramped room you've spent all day in. A man motions to it politely, but with a stern look on his face. Hijack the car. No. Yeah, fuck it. Like, we've got 2 strikes left. Let's do it. The car. That's your only option. You push past the stranger and rush to the driver's door. You open the car and reach for the keys. A strong, firm grasp on your shoulder yanks you back violently. You are thrown to the cold concrete, out of the car. The man produces a sharp piece of wood from his pocket and slams it into your chest. It's a sharp pain that makes all of your muscles tense. Paralysis. And an feeling of all-encompassing exhaustion. Blacking out. You see the trunk of the car opening and then the trunk closing with your body inside. The last thing you sense is the engine starting. And you're wrapped in an all-encompassing nothingness. You drift into oblivion. You feel pain in your chest and hear a wet squelch-like sound. You suck air through your teeth as you wake, hoping this is all a nightmare. Alas, that gasp is just an instinct. You don't actually breathe in nor out, and your heart is as still as before. You're in a brightly lit room. Paintings on the wall, soft music at an art gallery? A stranger is there holding a stake in his hand. There are more people too. Many more, all staring at you. You look down. Your clothes are ripped around your sternum. You touch your chest. You realize there's a gaping hole there. You can feel your broken ribs and the flesh around them. The nightmare keeps going strong. Get up. You stand up. About 24 faces observe your every move, and a number of waiters navigate the gathering, serving drinks. None of them are acknowledged by the people they're attending. The guests are well dressed mostly, but it is unclear why they have gathered here. Nobody seems particularly interested in the art pieces on the walls, and the atmosphere is polite. Unnaturally so. Something about everyone's eyes makes it abundantly clear they are here for you. I think the fledgling is ready to take your questions, Prince. Prince, look at the stranger. You look at who the stranger was addressing. Expect a man, but it is a somewhat plain-looking woman. So it would seem, Kadir. Good evening, child. I'm not a... Who are you calling a child? The Prince of New York City, Helene Panhard, child of Mikola, is addressing you, whelp. You will show respect. Thank you, my sheriff, but I am capable of introducing myself. She doesn't seem to possess a great deal of charm, but still the entire room is intently focused on her voice. She has influence over these people, that much is clear. You shall address me as Prince, child. I am told you have proven to be quite a burden to our dear Sheriff Kadir this night, and after being relatively cooperative the night before, too. Whatever got inside your head? Hushed voices fill the room. One of the faces catches your eye. It's a beautiful woman with curly, almost blood-red hair and a dress to match. You see her leaning over to some bespectacled man. She looks at you briefly, but with interest. The woman who called herself Prince glances around the room expectantly. The whispers cease. They've already heard all we need to hear about your behavior, but there is one thing that only you may know. Your sire, the person who brought you where Kadir picked you up last night, who were they? A, a Latina woman, very radical, unless she convincingly lied to me. She was special, extraordinary. She had fire, conviction, temper. She seduced me. Easily, in fact. Made me think she wanted me. I fell for it, and now I'm here. Feels awkward talking to a room full of strangers about what happened to what seemed like a random one-night stand at the time. Not to mention that even though the Latina made an impression on you for sure, her face is already fading from your mind. You realize she never even told you her name. Well, Kadir, does that sound familiar? No, it does not. At least not familiar enough. We'll continue to search after we're done here. I told you what I know. Can I go now? No, definitely not. What shall I do with the fledgling, my prince? What is your recommendation, my sheriff? The traditions are clear. Thou shalt only sire another with the permission of thine elder. If thou createst another without thine elder's leave, both thou and thy progeny shall be slain. I am eager to do my duty. Stay your hand for just a moment longer, Kadir. I wish to consult my council on this. Make sure everyone is in agreement. Of course. Relaxes a bit and closes his eyes. Oh, Cat, you poor thing. You certainly are being put through the ringer. I can only hope that it is worthwhile in the end. One of the mods will get back to you pretty soon, probably by messing with rolls, but we are learning. Maybe I can mess with rolls. No, let's keep playing. Give some entertainment while people do some real work, huh? The prince leaves the main showroom and about 6 people follow her out. You're about to ask this Kadir about what all that talk of traditions and councils was when the red-haired woman approaches the two of you. Sofu. Sheriff, I was wondering if I could have a word with the fledgling. What for? She lowers her voice in response. Come now, Kadir, there can only be one verdict given the circumstances. Let me speak to them. You might not have to stain your hands tonight after all. I already have. Thanks to this whelp's insolence. Do not use one fledgling's beast speaking up in a moment of terror as a justification for heeding the voice of your own, Sheriff. Hypocrisy suits you ill. That grabs his attention. His face is hard to read. It's like several emotions are struggling for domination: anger, sadness, resolve. Damn you, Langley. His eyes flare up with contempt. 5 minutes. Not a moment longer. He storms out of the room the way you came, and you are left in the showroom with the woman in the red dress. She takes you aside and eyes the remaining guests, and the eyes of the remaining guests follow. Well, Fledgling, you managed to get under Gideon's skin. Not an easy feat. You're in a precarious position and in need of allies. You're lucky that I've decided to attend this meeting tonight. What is this circus? What the hell is with this party for rich sickos? Looks like something straight out of a conspiracy theory. Everyone here knows a thing or two about conspiracies, but we don't have time to discuss those right now. So I'd stick to explaining what concerns you most directly. Last night, you became a vampire. Wait, what? Oh, yes. I'm well aware of how ridiculous that sounds. It's why we have these nicer words for it. Kindred, being embraced, having a sire. The fact remains, the beings called vampires, you're looking at them. They're us. You glance around. Some of the guests are still occasionally looking at you, commenting on you in hushed tones. Many of the patrons are pale. Really pale. Most hold glasses of wine. No, not wine. That's not the right thickness. Not the right color either. You're trying to come up with something sensible to say, but you're drawing a blank. Makes a morbid kind of sense. You drank blood last night, there's no denying it, and your breathing still has not returned. Your heart remains still. A vampire. Two voices in your head start battling for supremacy. One of them slowly begins to put everything that happened since yesterday together, coming to a conclusion that no matter how insane it might seem, nothing but what she's saying makes sense. The other voice just keeps saying, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" on repeat. You're surprised. This is often how it plays out by design. Good here deliberately keeping you in the dark and all. If we do nothing, you will be cut down as sure as day follows night. But I'm here to offer you a chance, a way out, under one condition. You're in hot water right now, but the prince might overlook a single act of defiance. I am still risking much if I speak out for you, but I am willing to take you under my wing if you swear fealty to me. I'm not making this offer lightly. As your patron, I will take responsibility for you. Your actions will reflect upon me. If they reflect negatively, well, I will make sure you face the consequences. So let me get this straight. You'll make me your servant in exchange for my life? That's the deal? If you insist on putting it on such pedestrian terms, yes, that is the deal, as you so eloquently put it. The alternative is, I fear final death at the hands of Kadir. Here. Tonight. Steps and hushed voices can be heard from the side room. It seems the prince and her council are returning to the showroom. Because it's funny. It's actually much funnier for us to treat this character like a stolen car. And that's why it's a tenet of Monster Hearts. The role-playing game. You're too cautious to make, like, not just the fun decisions, but potentially wrong decisions that lead to more dramatic outcomes. Games can get slowed down. You can move things along faster if people are more willing to accept risks. Ah, and there's the game. There's the gamble we're playing. How badly can I toe the line without having to restart and bore you all? If that happens, like, I'll boot up Baldur's Gate 3. We'll take an early break, I'll boot up Baldur's Gate. Or, I don't know, maybe something else? How often does it save? Quick save? No? Sausage needs something. I'll be back. Alright, what's your... Ooh, grinding. That's a good point. Grinding off camera is also there so it doesn't slow down the juicy plot we're getting to. Like, that's another big part of it for me. So, I don't know. That might help. We're good to go. All right. Kadir approaches from downstairs as well and starts walking over to you, glowering. When you hear the verdict asked to be spared, I will intervene. Remember my decision. She flashes a sad smile towards Kadir, who does not smile back. The sheriff's immaculate suit is now complemented by a curved or oriental-looking metal scabbard fastened with a colourful sash around his waist. It would look vaguely ridiculous if it wasn't surprisingly intimidating first and foremost. Kadir takes his place next to you and observes as the prince takes center stage again. Loyal kindred of New York City, Camarilla, gathered here tonight, I have made my decision regarding this fledgling. She briefly addresses you. Things might have been different if you showed your readiness to follow the lead of your superiors. Alas, your rash behavior damns you to a cruel but not unjust fate. You're all keenly aware that these nights we need to close our ranks and trust the wisdom of our elders and their traditions more than ever before. There's a lot of argument about how to pronounce that one, and not helped by Swan Song. Remember Swan Song? We did Swan Song, pronouncing it in a very weird way. But hey, Big Bad Wolf is a French studio, so we can just blame them. Blaming French is something I do. As our trusted sheriff pointed out, there can be only one course of action. There is no place of compassion where our very existence is under constant threat. Although I acknowledge some of my council's divergent opinions on this, takes a look specifically at one of the people who left the room before, a rather plainly dressed, shy-looking man whose skin is a somewhat healthier tone. He bows his head in deference. I hold the final authority over this fledgling's fate, and I declare that while their embrace might be the sire's responsibility, in their absence it is their progeny that shall be punished. It is unfortunate, but this is how it needs to be. The sentence is final death, to be resolved presently. Kadir? You hear a scraping sound and see that the sheriff has unsheathed his curved sword. It is a beautifully detailed blade, which you expect must be worth a small fortune. Its apparent sharpness makes you freeze up. 2 outs. Bottom of the 9th. His quiet mumble is audible to nobody but you. As his eyes meet yours, you note just a hint of sadness in his countenance, one that quickly vanishes to give way to grim determination. And he's out to bat. You will not get another chance to speak up. Ask for mercy. You make your choice. I'm not going down like this, damn it. Spare me. Prince, if I may ask you to stay the sheriff's hand for a while longer? Kitty looks at the prince, awaiting her response. The sword is still hanging above you, threatening to fall at a moment's notice. Is there something you'd like to say, Ms. Langley? Well, sometimes it's like not about the kindred tradition. It's about the Mets. It's all about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets. Gotta love the Mets. I don't even really get that meme, but boy, is it funny. Yes, if I may. No, I know, like, they're a New York team, right? And they don't win often, but that's it. Oh, baseball. There you go. At first, the prince looked somewhat annoyed at the distraction, but she stayed quiet a while, measuring the mood in the room. The bored elite suddenly look at you with aroused interest, some of them dismayed at not seeing the bloodshed, but all intrigued by the unexpected twist. The prince nods. Well, let's hear it. Sophie takes a few steps forward. All eyes are on her now, but Gideon's heavy hand on your shoulder makes it clear you won't take advantage of the distraction. Ma, Prince, while the traditions are clear, I believe that the proper context should be observed in addition to the letter of our laws. This fletching is a burden, but with proper guidance, they could become an asset to our domain. Am I to understand you are volunteering to take this sireless child under your protection? Yes. I happen to think they might hold a potential that would be unfortunate to waste. I do expect their full cooperation, of course. Whispers can be heard again. An incredulous voice or two. A hushed, just behead the fucker. Some suppressed exclamations of surprise. Silence. I ask all of you make a note at this moment. I may be persuaded to bend one tradition in this child's favor, but another will have to be enforced even more firmly in its stead. Until thy progeny shall be released, thou shalt command them in all things. Their sins are thine to endure. Are you certain that's a responsibility you wish to shoulder, Miss Langley? I'm willing to guide this fledgling and add a valuable ally to our sect. In a time of need, yes, but I would like to receive the right of destruction over them, if it pleases you. I'm worth keeping alive, Prince. Give me a chance to prove myself. That remains to be seen. I do take notice of your tenacity. See that it doesn't become a burden. I shall grant what you seek. Let it be known, Sophie Langley of the Clan of the Rose shall become this fledgling's patron. They shall be considered like sire and child. Miss Langley will take full responsibility for them, and I grant her the right of destruction if she sees fit to use it. Let my intentions be clear, however. If I am to turn a blind eye to one of our most important traditions on this occasion, I expect it to be beneficial to the Camarilla. Camarilla. Substantially so. I hope you find this verdict satisfactory, Miss Langley. Of course, Prince. Thank you. Very well. She turns to you. What is your name, child? Eric, Prince. Eric Prince? No. Eric, my prince. Eric, my prince. It's not great. Should I be using a nickname? Oh no, you chose a different dialogue option. Too late now. She nods. Welcome to the Camarilla, Eric. Now, this evening proves to be more eventful than I anticipated, but with the fledgling's fate decided, I believe our meeting here can conclude. Thank you all for appearing on such short notice. Give my regards to those who couldn't make it. Give you a moment of your time before I let you return to your duties? Of course, Prince. Shoots you a side glance that doesn't leave much space for interpretation. You will be watched. You will be judged, and if need be, you will be punished. The two of them leave the gallery. Well, Eric, I think we've already managed to significantly improve each other's evenings. Let's keep the ball rolling, shall we? I think we should have a toast to a new fruitful partnership. She raises her hand at one of the well-dressed concierges, who have now reappeared in the showroom to refill the guests' glasses. The conventionally handsome man approaches with a carafe of red liquid. He pours it into two tall glasses. It's blood again, that much is clear. You're in two minds about drinking it, but the memory of last night's hunger makes you wince. Take a tentative sip. Expected the same blandness you tasted a few hours ago, but this one you can actually savor. It's smoky and warm, making you think of a cozy cabin in the woods. It does strike you as a strange image for your mind to jump to when drinking human blood, but it is what it is. You've never tasted anything like it. Do you like it? I think New York City caters a very bourgeoisie idea about what good blood should taste like. Apologies. You must have so many questions. While we're on the topic, perhaps we should start with those related to sustenance. Where do you get blood? It's kind of weird that you have waiters serving blood. Where do you get it from? Bourgeois? That can be a bit of a touchy topic. Let's just say that most of the blood available at events like this is Crowdfunded. Did I get that right? It's hard to keep track of modern language. At any rate, what I mean is there's a plethora of vessels on tap. As for where to get blood when you're not at Elysium, tomorrow I shall take you hunting and we will explore this topic further. What you need to know right now is that no matter how much you drink, you'll always be tempted to have more. Oh, owned. Phew. Schooled. Yep. I accept that one pretty heavily, that's for sure. I'm not even thinking about how to pronounce it in French. It's just there. It's hard enough trying to like type it, which all leftists know. Unless you consume someone wholly to the last drop, but even that doesn't last. Best start by just taking a single sip from a vessel. Be prudent. Hot, fresh blood is more satiating than most anything else that can be served in a fancy glass, but it can make you more voracious. As to how much you should have, it depends. If you're frugal, you'd survive many nights without a single drink, but it's risky and it will tempt the beast that is part of our curse. You mentioned a beast? That beast you mentioned, is that a metaphor or? Oh, it's quite real, although not in a strictly physical sense. It lives in all of us. There, how nature and hunger manifest. Those more religious among us connect it to the biblical Cain, the rage of the first murderer, cursed by God, seething in all his descendants. I, however, I'm a child of the Enlightenment. Not that it makes my struggle any easier. I have to be wary like every other kindred in this city and beyond. Individual kindred each have a unique relationship to their beast. What yours is going to be remains to be seen. But you do need to keep it under control. Each outburst endangers not just you, but also the masquerade. The concierge returns, asks for permission to intrude, which Sophie gives, with a polite smile, and leans in to whisper into her ear. You know that the gallery is now almost empty. I'm being told the gallery is just about to close, but we still have a lot to discuss. We'll go to one of my apartments. My jalopy is waiting downstairs. Come. Ooh, Borgia family. That's interesting. I just generally blame the French anyway. The smile she puts on makes you remember the way you felt with the Latina. It's not arousing, though, more like magnetic. You find it hard to argue. Even though you're still suspicious of her authority over you, her charm momentarily wins you over. Very good, cleric. Having an excellent time with the boss. I while talking to a GP and getting essentially the second last part of an assessment done, um, I mentioned Emma Stitch's ADHD resources, and so she Googled and got Emma's page and was like, whoops. Adv. Whoa. Whoops is in like, I'm supposed to be on topic, right? Talking about whether my heart will explode if I'm given a stimulant. And instead, what I'm doing is selling my wife's efforts. Sophie leads you to a luxurious silver Rolls Royce and invites you to sit in the back. The chauffeur, a broad shouldered, clean shaven, middle aged guy, starts driving immediately. Where did we leave off? I believe I started telling you a bit more about our customs. You've heard the prince refer to our traditions. The chief among them is the Masquerade. As you might have gathered from us assembling at a niche gallery after closing time, our comings, goings, and doings tend to be somewhat secretive. We do not advertise our existence. We allow myths and modern fiction to morph and muddle the facts. And so, to the vast majority of kind, we remain bedtime stories and pop culture icons. Say, is that one television show about a vampire angel still popular? Is that Angel? Forever Night? God, I hope it's Forever Night. Shake her head in confusion. She shrugs and continues talking, looking a little bit more dejected than before. Our clandestine ways help us remain safe, allow us to explain away the occasional trip up to the rational minds of the 21st century's humanity, and dictate much of our interactions with mortals. Probably Buffy and Angel, but like much funnier if it was Forever Night. What other shows were there where a vampire was an angel? I definitely can't pronounce that Polish. Or Portuguese. Oh, dog's barking. One sec. At one point, we just had a doggy door. When is it said? I don't know. Later it is, the funnier it is that she misses Angel. We got a little pup. Our clandestine ways help us remain safe, allow us to explain away the occasional trip up to the rational minds of the 21st century humanity. Alright, sausage. And dictate much of our interactions with mortals. Is a driver a vampire too? So if it's such a secret that I'm guessing a driver is a vampire too? Oh, dear Gregory here? No, not a vampire, although he is a loyal servant and as such trusted not to spill our secrets left and right. You realize with time that such help is welcome. Gregory watches over me during the day hours. Sun burns our kind, and that's why we take our rest when it rises. It's more akin to being dead than asleep, as I'm sure you've already experienced. Not everything you've heard about vampires is true. Some more folk-related threats are just legends or occasionally a minor nuisance. Garlic, rum, and water. Even religious symbols don't repel us unless a wielder is uniquely pure and godly. Stakes to the heart, though. That's something to avoid. They do not destroy, but they do paralyze us. Familiar with the sensation, I'm sure. You see her point to the closed wound in your chest, though the tattered clothes where the stake entered are more of a reminder of your defiance at this point than any pain or discomfort is. For a second, you expect your heart to beat faster. Then you remember it's impossible. Well, it's just another reason to have somebody like trusty old Gregory making sure you're safe when you drift away. We have many enemies, and they often know their advantage lies with daylight. Masquerade sounds like bullshit. Let me get this straight. It's forbidden to let humans know vampires exist, but it's okay to have human slaves who know for a fact who they serve? Sounds like a steaming pile of bullshit. There are degrees to this, of course. Not many rules of our society are clear-cut. In some domains, the prince is very controlling and strict about keeping to the letter of the traditions. Luckily for you, Prince Panhard allows some leeway on occasion, or else we wouldn't be having this conversation. But to address your qualms, servants are fine, as long as they remain loyal. That said, our sect supplies social interactions aplenty, but it doesn't really encourage counting on someone. Support given in exchange for favors, yeah, that's more like it. Long-term solidarity does occur in the Cambria, but we are a very politicized organization by necessity. Loyalty is to your sire, to your prince, and to the sect. If a servant, or mortal family member, or whoever else acts against the interests of any of these, their lives are forfeit. So they need to adhere to the Masquerade as much as we do. He's a fangbanger. No, I agree. Probably enjoys a Toreador with beautiful red hair. Why wouldn't you, right? I definitely sleep with a vampire. And if anyone in chat says they wouldn't, I'm doubting you, that's for sure. The hardest part is like having a day job. Because generally you're only doing stuff during the day, and then occasionally they ask you at night. That sucks. Yeah, it depends on the vampire, but still. Vampires are always toxic, correct. Oh, come on. Vampires can wear a strap-on, right? Hey, Lord, good timing, huh? She seems to be lost in thought and falls silent a while, leaving you to ponder all the things you've learned tonight. It still feels absolutely unreal, but as piece after piece of knowledge falls into place, the image becomes almost like an entirely logical jigsaw puzzle. Whatever you wouldn't believe on your own, you've witnessed. Many questions swarm your thoughts, but the one you keep returning to is what your place is in this new reality should be. Car stops. You're in the city, in front of an old but well-renovated apartment building. We're here. Would you like to see your lodgings? My own apartment? Neat. Consider it the first of many gifts that I'm able to grant in exchange for loyalty. Come upstairs. Yeah, alright. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, comrade. Alright. You can suck a strap on and have a good time. You know, like Twilight, all bodily fluids are replaced with venom. TM. Don't trust a woman to write smut. I'm like... That definitely means the vaginal secretion is like venom and or blood. Right? I think it would... Forever hard, that's right. Would I become a vampire? Oh, I don't think so. Not anymore. Like, for a long time, I'd say nearly my entire majority of life, yes. But, if I could convince Emma, mate, no, probably not. Well, like, I can make it worse, Loxy. Drool. Girl drool. Yeah, I enjoy it as well, but as a word, it's not great. It's pretty fucking close to drool. And I'm not someone who dislikes the word moist or tummy. So like, could you actually, like, if you have your blood drain and then the first half of being embraced, and then your sire slams your face, fuck it, just slams your face directly onto their pussy, right? And then rubs, so you get a bunch of that excellent, delicious Twilight vampire venom. Do you like... And is that a badge of honor? Oh yes, I was embraced, absolutely. I was absolutely embraced face first. Hold on, I have a vampire NPC to write. She leads you through the small hall with a night guard who greets Miss Langley with a good evening, and you take the stairs up to the second floor. Sophie opens the door to room 209. Inside are all the amenities you would expect from a modern apartment, and some you wouldn't have deemed necessary just the previous night, including thick blinds on the windows. The back room has a comfortable looking bed and a thick steel door with several sturdy looking locks, but no windows. Well, how do you like it? It's nice in this very agreeable way, you know, like lacks character. Well, I would appreciate if you could hold back the need to redecorate. I'm actually really fond of the decor here. Tomorrow, I'll take you hunting and discuss blood in more detail. Heh, snail trail. That one's good. I'll let you get comfortable. The keys are by the television set. I will come pick you up tomorrow night. Use the back room for rest. You can lock the doors just in case. Stings a bit when she leaves. Like the room suddenly became a few shades dimmer. Inspect the kitchen, hoping to find something to drink. Nothing. No regular food either. Feels strange that Kadir could be a more thoughtful host than a new sire, even if only in that respect. You briefly wonder if the sheriff might have a hidden side. With nothing left to do, you lie on the couch with the TV playing in the background for company. Columbo reruns. So, like, Lauren, it's because you don't go to sleep enough in camp. And again, the game does heavily imply don't sleep too often, you'll get to turn into a mind flayer. Oh, sorry, cat. But hey, they're good for me. They help my balance sheet. Treat it like a pyramid scheme. You get more people to join, and then buy a bunch of gift subs, and then bam, maybe you'll luck into not having to buy a sub yourself. We all love subbing for free. Kojak reruns. President of the United States got himself into serious trouble again. Oh, thanks, Loxy. It's very kind. Oh, and now the animation plays. Jesus. I haven't seen that in months. President of the United States got himself out of trouble again. Fun to start yelling at each other about things that seemed a little bit less insignificant just 2 days ago. You start drifting off, reflecting about another night of confusing conversations and worldview-shattering revelations. How many more before you finally understand what happened to you? And what you're supposed to do now? Keep coming back to the life you left behind, the people you should contact, the things you want to pick up from your apartment. You wonder when you'll have the chance for either. Do you like the stream, Sugar Mama? Appreciate it, Loxy. Bring more subs around so you can share the love. We love it. Yeah, I bet protons are expensive. Put it as a stretch goal to the Kickstarter we mentioned a little while ago, Lauren. If we get to this tier of stretch goal, I will give you nothing extra, but I will hire a professional. Oh, to do what? For me. To make me hurt. Oh, is that part of the campaign? No. In fact, it'll probably slow down the production a little bit, but it'll be totally worth it. As you start to feel the same tiredness that made you drift into a cold sleep last night, you settle into the back room. The bed is comforting. The lack of windows less so. You leave the light bulb on. Looking at it, you realize it's the closest you'll ever come to staring at the sun on a breezy summer day again. A wave of melancholy overwhelms you. A few minutes later, your consciousness fades and you take the plunge into darkness again. Sinking, 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 sinking. Rest. It's pretty good. Hunger is at the heart of a vampire's existence. To ignore it is to tempt the beast to take over in its desire to feed. To overindulge in feeding may threaten the masquerade while straining what humanity you have left. In Coteries of New York, having high hunger is indicated by a progressively thicker bloody frame around the screen, like the one you see now. As the hunger grows, so does this indicator. Your hunger may increase when you call upon your vampiric powers or when you need to mend your wounds after a fight. When your hunger reaches the maximum level, you receive a warning after you complete a piece of the story. Ignore it at your own peril. Some choices might only become visible if your hunger is high enough. Similarly, fuck, that's hard. High hunger may block off some choices, as you'll be able to see after pressing continue. Blocked off option. Oh no! Continue. To decrease your hunger, you will need to feed. Whenever you see a feeding opportunity, you can take the risk to hunt and slake your hunger. Feeding opportunity. You'll need to keep the hunger at bay if you are to uphold the masquerade and survive the nights that await you. Nope. Wait. What the? Oh, there it is. God, I hope I get to feed on someone soon so I can do that, right? Enjoy some bacon and eggs. The bed isn't warm. The room is filled with an artificial light from the ceiling. The solid metal door is closed. Normally you'd stretch for a bit. Some mornings you'd probably throw the quilt over yourself and snooze a moment longer. But that was before. The way you woke up now, you are fully conscious. No grogginess, nothing weighing you down, just a nagging need in the back of your head. Hunger. Not as severe as the last time, but unmistakably there. Get up and open the door to the main room. The digital clock on the TV shows you the time. 9:04 p.m. You walk over to the blinds and retract them cautiously. The only light coming in is NIC's artificial nighttime luminescence. So that's what your waking hours are going to look like now. You miss the sunlight already. You're seriously considering just walking out of the apartment and figuring this all out by yourself, but then you come back to the memory of Kadir's exotic sword being raised in the gallery. Maybe sticking around isn't that bad an idea, after all. Keep jumping channels for around half an hour and then switch to streaming services. Almost as if the universe had a sense of irony, you catch True Blood in the flood of recommendations. Doorbell rings. It's Sophie. Good evening, Eric. Just slept well? Like a dead man. Curious wording, but not that far from the truth, I suppose. No use dwelling on it. I think you will agree with time. You made the right choice yesterday. I can teach you many things about yourself, your blood, its desires, and its power. We will begin tonight. You are hungry, yes, I'm sure you are. Our kind always is. There's only one remedy, the blood. The drinks we had yesterday at Elysium are not the usual way you slake your thirst. So tonight I will assist you in your first foray into hunting. You need to learn to sense the kind of blood you desire, to understand how you can use the kind's vulnerabilities to your advantage. Now, it's nearly break time, but I want to continue for just a little bit longer, okay? Predator and prey, huh? So, let me get this straight. We are predators, humans are prey. That's pretty grim. I know how you feel. I remember the notion, but you will inevitably grow beyond it. You need blood to thrive, but there are many ways to take it, some more humane than others. You'll find that drinking moderate amounts of it regularly will keep the hunger and the whispers of the beast away. You might think yourself monstrous, but there is a balance to be found here. A kiss gives kind pleasure. You might remember this from your own embrace. Someone can even become addicted to the sensation, but if you do it right, they tend to misremember your feeling. After all, vampires do not exist. They are myths, fairy tales, and pop culture mainstays, correct? She gives you a sly, knowing smile. That is why the masquerade is so important, and even more crucial when you feed. How do I choose who to feed from? Are there better or worse targets? Isolated kind are the easiest prey, of course, but much depends on context. Hunting requires a different approach in a busy club than it does on an empty street. With time, you will have the luxury of finding your preference in hunting methods and prey. For now, I suggest experimenting. In moderation. Feeding from the same area repeatedly can be dangerous, but by branching out, you risk the ire of other kindred on whose domains you trespass. Lucky for you, New York City is more forgiving in this regard. Oh, that's so sweet, Cleric. I do like that. Get some sun, cat. Thank you, Cleric. New York is in somewhat of a unique position. Many of its neighborhoods remain contested or unclaimed. The reason for this is a lesson for another time, but keep the following in mind. Take opportunities to feed when they present themselves these upcoming nights. As long as you hunt cautiously and respect the masquerade at all times, you should be fine. So wait, I want you to join me for a trip tonight. Come downstairs. Gregory's waiting for us. A busy street fills the air with traffic noise, pedestrian chatter, and a mix of smells that disorient you momentarily. These warm bodies contain what you want, what you need. You catch yourself. Did you really just think these people as mere sources of blood? Well, Willow, that's true. I like that. Takes a nudge from Sophie to break your train of thought. Her driver opens the door for her and then tips his hat to you, gesturing to the back of the car. Now I can reuse this background. The car casually joins in the somewhat thinned New York traffic. It's still busy in a way only one of the biggest cities in the world can be, but compared to the daytime commute, it's a pleasant drive. You barely have the time to gather your thoughts and formulate new questions before the car comes to a stop. You're among the tall skyscrapers that make up Manhattan's iconic skyline. Oh, yeah, okay, this is before COVID. The sequel is set during COVID. There you go. Come, Eric. Park the car, Gregory, will you? The driver just nods and Sophie gets out. You join her and the two of you walk through the glass doors together and take the elevator up. You first notice an empty stage with the instruments of a string quartet still in the back, and then take in the few dozen chairs in front of it. Concert seeming concluded, the patrons, all smartly dressed and posh, have spread out all over the hall. Sophie strides confidently inside, produces an invitation from her purse that she flashes in front of a security guard. You follow close and are let through without issue. Let's start easy. A social setting like this one usually prove quite challenging to an inexperienced kindred, but consider this evening a small gift from your patron. I'm hoping to procure for you a willing vessel. Just remember what I told you about taking small sips. This one I have a soft spot for. Don't damage her. Now let's see here. Ah, there he is. She notices somebody in the crowd, flashes a heart-melting smile, and suddenly you feel drawn to her. You haven't thought about it before, but it's laid clear before you in this moment. Sophie is beautiful. Just looking at her is a privilege. Just being with her makes you feel elated. Everybody in the crowd, but especially the man who's almost tripping over himself to reach her, clearly agrees. Edgar, I'm so happy to see you. How is your daughter? Is she with you? Oh, there she is. Julie, my girl, come over, please. There's somebody I'd like you to meet. A young woman who walks across the hall can't be more than 19 years old. It's clear from her mismatched earrings and the partially faded purple hair dye that she doesn't fit this crowd. Julie, this is Eric. I think the two of you should get acquainted while I talk business with your dad. Awfully boring stuff, I assure you, but I'm positive you'll like each other. The girl gives you a shy smile and nods towards the balcony stairs. You follow, somewhat unsure what it is exactly Sophie expects you to do. Oh, cleric. Yeah, that sounds like something that has happened to me. The testing is not that bad, that's for sure. However, you will turn up for a GP appointment, right? And they'll be like, oh, they're just checking your EKG results and otherwise. And then they will get you talking about your parents and how things happened. Good fun. I've had a disrupted weekend, that's for fucking sure. Also, horniest chat on all of Twitch. How dare you mention P 20 times, especially Neon P, and not comment on how different it could or should taste. Anyway. The girl gives you a shy smile and nods towards the balcony stairs. You follow, somewhat unsure what it is exactly Sophie expects you to do. Oh, Luxie, that's good. You poor thing. You reach a secluded space from which the entire lobby is visible. All eyes are on Sophie. They listen intently, then laugh when she does. Julie saves you the trouble of figuring out the next step. If you're with Sophie, then I guess you're, I mean that you know. She puts her wrist to her lips and gives herself a theatrical nip. And looks to you embarrassed, but also hopeful? What? Are you into this sort of thing? She blushes, looks down at the floor, nods. Could you? I mean, if you'd like. Miss Langley tells me she swallows hard, avoids your eye, that I taste nice. Drink from Julie. You take her forearm into your hands. A quick look around confirms nobody's watching and no security cameras cover this area. You bite down. Gently. It's surreal. She's just given you her blood of her own volition. How is this possible? What about the masquerade? You need to ask Sophie. Your thoughts disappear amid the bliss. There's just the taste. Fresh, sweet, sanguine. You drink and drink and drink. No, stop, stop, stop. You tear away from the girl harder than you wanted. Still, the bite leaves just tiny punctures, almost as if by instinct you lick them clean and the two holes become concealed, just like that. Julie is now leaning on the wall, pale, wobbly on her feet, but happy. She lets out a dreamy sigh, opens her eyes, a few tears fall onto her shirt. Tears of joy. Thank you. Please, can you walk me downstairs? Please, my dad, he doesn't know. Thinks it's a condition. Miss Langley told him so. She leans on you and requests you walk her over to a bench. She takes a seat, smiles at you. Crowd around Sophie disperses slowly. Looking at her now, only some residual awe hangs in the air. Yes, she's pretty, maybe even beautiful, sure, but not your type. What came over you before? Oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus Christ. I just stretched the shoulder that I may have torn, done something to. Just hurt on Friday night. Okay, well, that wasn't as bad as it was over the weekend, but goddamn. Yeah, thank you, Lauren. That's the idea. That's one of the reasons why I love doing vampires so much, right? Because I get to do those. And more of them, right? Let's have a break, everybody. Time for you to go pee. Whether it's neon or not. Let's do that. Stretch. And I'll not stretch my shoulder and come back with a cocktail, okay? Be good to yourselves. See you soon. There we go. Hey, Leona, welcome back. Scroll. Please don't bring COVID to work. Yeah, good idea. This is just port. It's old port too. It's actually port from Comrade's wedding. I've still got a bottle. I was hoping for something slightly brighter red, because, you know, playing vampire, but no, here we go. Just a glass of port, one of my coupe glasses. Not even a port glass? No. I'll have lots of it. I don't like wine, but I sure do like, port. Not the only thing I like too. More masks, please? Oh, right. Yeah. Erotic ASMR voices. Yeah, because it's harder for people to generally, like, okay, soapbox, right? But the masculine form isn't eroticized or seen as an object to be enjoyed sexually, and on a way different scales to the female form, right? To the point where people are sometimes even, like, reticent to let go of someone choosing not to. Sometimes some of the responses transphobes have to transmass people are a lack of control over a feminine body as well, right? And that's interesting. Shitty, that's for fucking sure, but love that. So people enjoy it. That's also why gay appreciation of the masculine body was so revolutionary, and in some capacity still is, you know. Also not sure if I said hello to Leona, and if so, let's do it again. Hey Leona, welcome home tonight. I hope you had a really good evening, okay? And work was good to you. We managed to drag Kat into our Discord server, and he was happily sharing the Monster Hunter trailer. I don't know if it's new. Monster Hunter Wilds? Is that new? Not sure. Because I'm a sap. My most recent ex, she really likes Monster Hunter, and I really liked her. So I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go, absolutely. She played it on Switch. I'm like, all right, I'll buy a Switch. We'll give it a go. And I had a really good time playing it with her. And now I don't know if I can, because I've tried a couple of times. I'm like, oh, too close, too sad, can't do it. Even though I actively, legitimately, really enjoy playing it, even solo. Now I'm like, it's too close. Oh well. But, you know, that's what happens when you're a sensitive Jimbles. Yeah. Ban the racist. Sucks that they turned up, but glad they're gone. Good job for the kitty. Babushka the kitty gets love. Anyway. Yosef Port's probably not the one from your wedding though, right? You could drink it on your first anniversary, which I believe is past. You can wait for your 10th, that won't be as good. Anyway. Let's settle in and listen to me with a little bit more ASMR. Maybe we'll get for another hunting scene, and we can share Lauren on perhaps they get to watch the VOD with some more. The crowd around Sophie disperses slowly. Looking at her now, only some residual awe hangs in the air. Yes, she's pretty, maybe even beautiful, sure, but not your type. What came over you before? Walk over to her. Edgar, dear, it was splendid talking to you, but we need to get going. Give Julie my best wishes. Come with, Eric. Gregory's waiting for you out front. It's only in the car that Sophie addresses you. I can tell from your look that you took the opportunity. Good for you. That girl's exquisite. Don't you think? You wouldn't tell by her demeanor, but she has so much passion. It really brings out a unique bouquet in her blood. Her blood was... She was something else, to be sure. Delicious. I could barely stop myself from drinking more. I'm glad you did. She is one of my favorites. Consider tonight special in this regards. I do not share her with just anybody. Time for the next stop. Training wheels off this time. Gregory, Flushing Meadows, please. I was gonna make a port old-fashioned to see what it's like, and I don't have any scotch or bourbon left. Scotch, whiskey, but you know, you're like, no, don't do that. That's horrible. I want to try it. It was listed on Difford's with 3 stars. That's not a high. Yeah, porter's the sweetener. There you go. Hmm. Yeah, right? So, like, I'd give it a go. That's no. But I'm actively working through alcohol so that the cabinet is smaller when Baby K is old enough to pull things off shelves, you know? I'm like, whew. It's an effort. Driver takes a car over the Williamsburg Bridge. You settle your thoughts. Hey, this game, it's by draw distance, and they're Polish. So all of the details in New York they picked up from the source book NYC by Night, which is, I don't think it's been reprinted for 5th Vampire 5. I bet Leona could tell us though. Was that about training wheels? What did you mean by training wheels? Julie was a proving ground for you to try your hand at a controlled feeding. Now it's time for a real hunt. That will require you to put in extra effort. Yeah, Hermit, absolutely. What I feel like doing is pulling out an Excel spreadsheet, cataloging things, right? Yeah, Violets. Like, catalog everything, see how much I have, and then use a tool to figure out what cocktails I can make from it, and then, like, work through them in an interesting fashion rather than just drinking them on ice. Spreadsheet, yeah, right? Insane behavior. Fun, though. We all have our talents. Some of them come from the legacy we inherit from our sire. Others can be learned with experience. I can sway people and make them fear me. I see more of the world in greater detail than some kindred. I can will my body to move with unparalleled precision and grace. More. All of these skills make me who I am. They also help me hunt. Okay, so what are my talents? Some will tell. You need to discover them yourself. When we arrive, experiment. Give different things a try. Follow your instinct and intuition. It will guide the blood. Always keep the masquerade in mind, however. It is all fine if you can disappear in plain sight or command animals with your mind, but save those overt talents for the right place at the right time. It only takes you half an hour to reach the park at this time of night. Both you and Sophie leave the car, with Gregory left behind again to find a parking spot and keep an eye on the car. Fuck, that makes driving in the city so much easier. Someone else parks. Of course. Sophie seems deep in thought. She takes in the surroundings with a dreamy gaze. The sky is surprisingly clear tonight, the stars just barely visible in the light-polluted aura of the city. I feel like having a snack myself. I'll be by the fountain. Go. Look for somebody to your liking. See what effects you can achieve with your blood. But only pick one victim, just one. Then come back. Seeing how she seems not altogether here right now, you decide to leave Sophie to her own devices and seek out your prey. From here, it looks like you have a few choices. Just taking a stroll around the park and finding an isolated jogger or someone like them could work. Focusing on one area might work better. The New York State Pavilion might work as a secluded spot. There's a skate park nearby, and worst case scenario, there's bound to be some unfortunate wino around. Maybe the tennis courts nearby, there's light coming from there, so somebody might still be playing a late night match. They won't be alone, but they might be tired and let their guard down. As these scenarios play out in your mind, you realize you're planning how to assault a stranger in the middle of the night. It's a weird way to be, but now the now familiar hunger prompts you to act. Oh. Decrepit look for prey. Skate park. Search for a victim around the park. You start walking. The park's many avenues must hold a good spot or two for a predator like yourself. You pass 2 soccer fields and circle around where the fountain of the planets once awed visitors with its spectacle before coming across an opportunity. A woman, a small duffel bag on her arm, is making her way through the park in a hurry. She doesn't seem to have noticed you yet. Ooh, presents. Let's do it. Balk, yeah. Marvel's balking, but this is expected, don't worry. And, you know, stream has my full attention for now. That's totally okay. You think back to what Sophia did in the hall, how she managed to focus the attention of the entire gathering on her. That might be a tall order for you, but a single person could be doable. For a moment, you're thinking how an old guy in a hood should appear over your shoulder saying, "Use the Force, Eric." It feels ridiculous. But then something stirs within you. There's a confidence there, an allure that you might have had before, but one that's increased manifold in this moment. You catch the woman's eye. She flashes an unsure smile, almost in spite of herself. She passes you by. Hey, you. She's tense, gripping her bag close but attentive. Her eyes lock onto yours. The slight smile is there again. Yes? What is it? Almost intuitively, you close the distance between you. She can't look away. She's unprepared for what follows. With a swift move, you grab her and bite down. Her surprise resonates in her blood. Hot, excited, fast-flowing. She tenses up and then relaxes. The duffel bag hits the ground. Bliss. Footsteps. You let go of her. She drops to the ground, barely conscious. A hooded man is looking menacingly at you. What do you think you're doing? Barging in on my turf like this, Lick? Lick? What kind of slur is that? What did you call me? A lick? What is that supposed to mean? Don't be cute with me. I know what you are. Shove that masquerade bullshit up your ass. Better tell me who you were with before my posse shows up and we beat it out of you. Big talk? You talk big, but I'm thinking you're just a chump. You want to prove me wrong? He tenses up, gives you an extremely nasty look. Bares his fangs. You don't want to push your luck, dumb fuck. My crew is in earshot. One shout away and you're D-O-N-E. Done. You get what I'm saying? So if you want to dance, let's dance. Once I'm through, I'm gonna hand you over to the Callahan. You're gonna be sorry I didn't finish you off instead. Fuck it. Let's tack it. I mean, Kat, I think that makes sense, right? We all discussed how you could definitely be embraced by being pushed face first into a vampire pussy. You decide the time for talking is over. You rush him and throw him off balance, landing on the ground. He's fast but weak. The brawl takes a bit out of both of you. Suddenly you hear heavy footsteps closing in, and the thug is snatched from over you. He hits a tree hard before he can recover. A sharp piece of wood pierces his chest. It's Gregory, Sophie's driver, who deals the blow. The hoodlum is rendered inert. His eyes remain open, but he does not move and does not protest when Gregory puts him over his shoulder. Miss Langley is waiting for us. Come, before your snack wakes up. Ha! Yeah, Emma Stitches. Very good idea. I promise safe for work for like 10 minutes at the beginning. He points to your victim, who's just coming to and gives you a somewhat snarky smile and breaks into a swift walk towards the Unisphere. How'd she get here this fast? I was watching you from afar. Miss Langley asked me to look out for you. She suspected you'd get into trouble. He seems to realize he might have said too much, just keeps walking, somewhat embarrassed. You reach the Unisphere together, with the hoodlum in tow. Two figures are visible near the sculpture, a man and a woman tangled in a passionate embrace. No, not exactly. It's Sophie, feeding, but this whole scene is set up so it looks like a pair getting intimate in public. She pulls it off like she's done it 100 times before. It occurs to you that she probably has. The man is unsure on his feet as she lets go of him and leads him towards a nearby bench. Noticing you, she whispers something into his ear and leaves him. She nods to Gregory as you approach. What do we have here? Did this kindred give you trouble, Eric? He said something about presenting me to somebody named Callahan. Ever heard of him? She looks shocked for a split second, and recovers her regular countenance. Yes, I have. This hoodlum is Anna up there. I'm curious. Corona Park has not been claimed by any kindred last I checked. Let's go to the car and put him in the trunk and present him to Kadir tomorrow night. I'm sure he'll be delighted to make this unbound acquaintance. Gregory carries a staked vampire and dumps him in the car's trunk like a mannequin. The sight gives you the sudden urge to touch your own chest as you remember being treated the same by Kadir. The gaping wound that was still there just last night is now almost gone. Just a tender, scar tissue like spot marks what was a hole in your sternum. It's still as strange a realization as last time. It's almost surprising that you can get away with just casually throwing a stiff into your car and driving away, but then you remember that Sophie has been doing this far longer than you have. Still, the nagging thought that anything you did tonight could have been recorded on a CCTV camera or picked up by a rando with a half-decent smartphone and streamed online fills you with dread. Hunting and using your abilities is a dangerous business. It's clear that this whole being a vampire thing is about as many caveats as it does perks. You're taken out of your headspace by Sophie's voice. I'll pick you up tomorrow night, same as tonight. I have some business to attend to at Elysium, and I expect you to accompany me. Plus, our friend in the back needs to be properly introduced to Kadir and the Prince. I'm sure he'll have some interesting things to say to the court. Her voice is cold, cruel, and nothing like the enchanting personality she showed at the gallery earlier tonight. Sophie is clearly a woman of many faces. What's going to happen to him? The usual, I imagine. Interrogation by Kadir, probably in the basement of the gallery. A quick trial with the Prince in attendance if she's there tomorrow night. Swift execution is the verdict. This all sounds eerily familiar to you, and you can't help but feel a pang of guilt when you think about what awaits this guy tomorrow night. You haven't told me how hunting went. Getting a hang of it, I would hope. I think I am, yeah. I'll cope. I'm glad. She doesn't question you further. She seems distracted, not all there. Her thoughts drift, the car remains silent until you reach your apartment. We will pick you up tomorrow evening. Good night. Just like that, without any further courtesy, Sophie leaves, driven to her apartment by Gregory, with a body in the trunk, right in the middle of Manhattan. Oh, Emma Stitches. Like, that's so right, though. That's... Vampires and Jesus go hand in hand. The Catholics are drinking his blood every week. I mean, that's pretty vampire-y, is it not? Did you cross paths with situations like these in the past? Unknowingly? What other secrets did you pass on the streets without knowing their true nature? Your haven is just as you left it hours ago. Although the sun won't come up for some time, you feel tired. You learned something about yourself today, and it will take time to process. Is your aunt a vampire? I'm not in the mood for television, and the few books on the shelves in the apartment are either in languages you don't speak, or sound like a boring read. Nothing left to do but rest. You settle in the back room, lock the door. A moment of hesitation, but then a decision. This time you turn the light off. Think back to Julie. How many people in this city know about this vampiric society? How many are willing accomplices and sustaining it? And the thug you met in the park, if he's not Camarilla, then what is he? Are there independent vampires? How does that work? More questions. You begin wondering if there's ever going to be a night where you can start crossing them off the list, instead of adding to it. You close your eyes. You sink into the now familiar void of nothingness. It greets you with open arms like an old friend. You open your eyes. It's pitch dark here, the blackness of a coffin drifting in the abyss. Right, the light. You grasp for the switch, flip it. Familiar cramped room with a steel door, no windows, comes into view. You emerge from the bedroom fully awake, just like yesterday. This time, however, Sophie's waiting for you, comfortably seated on the sofa in your living room space, a book in her hand. The Melancholy of Resistance. Title sure on brand. Good evening, Eric. Good evening, Sophie. I hope you rested well. Tonight will be quite eventful, I think. Come, we have an appointment. I received word Elysium would be called again tonight on account of your unruly friend from Corona Park. This should be a great opportunity for you to mingle. She keeps talking as you walk downstairs and get in the car. Gregory gives you a slight nod and a small smile while opening the door for Sophie. He starts the car when you take your seat in the back. Most of the Primogen Council is bound to be there, well, at least those who usually attend. Probably some other important personalities you do well to at least learn about. More politics, huh? Great. Sounds delightful. You should get used to it. We kindred love scheming and our nightly dance macabre. Here in New York City, it's relatively local and harmless, all told. Times are changing, though. She stops herself and seems to be gathering her thoughts for some moments, while shooting you a scrutinizing glance in the rearview mirror. There are power plays put into motion decades, even centuries ago, which only now are bearing fruit. Being immortal gives us plenty of time to think about our next move on the chessboard. Wouldn't hurt to start thinking about yours. So long as you discuss it with me, of course. At any rate, you should behave yourself tonight. Remember what I told you about reflecting on me as your patron. I have a reputation to uphold in the court. Do not tarnish it. There it is. She might have said to you she might be protecting and teaching you, but it's clear what she's really concerned about. Her own interests. You step into the art hall with something of a bad memory. The last time you were here, your entire world had been turned upside down and your existence nearly ended. But tonight there is very little outward hostility. Yes, Kadir gives you a look that is definitely intended to remind you of your place, but the prince, also in attendance, seems pleased to see you. Welcome, Sophie, Eric. Did I get that right? Good evening to both of you. I understand there is somebody else you wish to present to the court tonight. Yes, Prince, they'll be joining us shortly, and my assistant is retrieving them presently. This better be worth the prince's time, lately. The prince gives Kadir a cold glance. Forgive the sheriff's harshness. He's in a particularly foul mood tonight. Something to do with Eric's baguette eluding his grasp, I believe. Ouch. I must have hurt his ego, even if his only reply is a crooked smile. The mention of your sire makes it come back to all the talk of assuring societal norms and disillusionment with the status quo you enjoyed back in the club. Look at you now! Behaved! Agreeable! She likely wouldn't be too happy about this whole setup. Prince, court, hierarchy, titles, but hey, she's gone. Probably forever. If you ever break out of this, it'll be on your own. Flaring up of whispers in the gallery hall breaks you out of your thoughts. Gregory enters the room, the jumpsuit-clad, inert vampire, still staked on his shoulder. The show's about to start. Sophie's driver places his charge in the middle of the room and nods respectfully to Kadir. The sheriff approaches the vampire and removes the stake from his chest. The captive's eyes flicker to life and he starts looking around in disbelief. Like a cornered animal, he backs out on all fours, keeps going in circles until he realizes he's trapped. Kadir steps on the man's chest and pins him to the floor. Why, who do we have here? Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. No, come on, don't. Silence. The sheriff takes on an aura of utter dread. He appears as if he's a primal force of nature that's out to get you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do but shrivel in terror. The beast inside you shrieks, and you could swear it happens in unison with the instincts of some of the other guests here tonight. It's unlike anything you've experienced in his company during your turbulent first night as a vampire. He really did go easy on you, all things considered. Seems like it takes all the hoodlum's willpower to not crawl into a fetal position and start crying. No, please, don't hurt me, man, don't. You and me are gonna have a little talk downstairs at the prince's discretion. Please, go ahead, my sheriff. You heard the prince. Get up, let's go. Doesn't wait for a confirmation, just grabs the man and drags him, kicking and screaming, out of the room. Conversations start all around you, some whispered, some quite overt. Sophie looks somewhat bored of the whole affair, her eyes wandering from art piece to art piece, clearly finding nothing to her particular liking. So, what happens now? It'll be at least some minutes before Kadir gets the information he seeks out of this thug. Why not mingle while we wait for him to break? Excuse me. Sophie leads you aside and goes to a corner of the gallery where a group of kindred, some seemingly pretty old-fashioned, gathered. The concierge offers you a drink. Still warm, smells nice. Just a sip to start you off. Splash over your palate, coating your tongue and the inside of your cheeks. Nourishment. You're left to your own devices. You have a quick look around. Prince is currently talking to a dark-skinned woman that you recall seeing here those few nights ago. She has a cold but noble countenance to her. The conversation seems to be casual. A loud, shrill laugh turns your attention to the bespectacled man who you saw with Sophie in the night of your judgment. He's making the rounds, chatting up different patrons. You feel somebody's eyes on you. A casually dressed, plain-looking man stands alone near a column, watching you. Turns his gaze away sheepishly when he realizes you've noticed. Something about this guy. It's not that he's staring at you, most everybody in this room has at one point or another. It's how he does it. He seems shy, maybe even afraid. It's hard to find a secluded spot in the gallery tonight, but this guy has an entire corner of the room all to himself. As you approach, he's standing alone with no glass in hand, a worried look on his face. Good evening, Mr. Larson. Or you can call me Robert. Either's fine. It's Strider! Why are you standing around all by yourself like this? Not hugely liked in these parts. I'm surprised you wanted to talk to me. Then again, you're new, so you probably don't know. I'm one of Prince Panhard's Primogen. I'm here in business in case the prince requires my insight. Usually it's so she can hear me out before ignoring me. Not sure if you're paying attention the other night, but when the prince mentioned diverging opinions on whether you should be executed or not, that was me. I was the diverging opinion. That's huge. Thank you. Even if it didn't change the prince's mind. Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Listen, I don't want to be rude, and I appreciate you reaching out, but word of advice? Stay away from me. Many vampires in this sect regard my position as Primogen to be some kind of joke, you know? You talk to me, they'll notice, and they'll hold it against you. Get a quick look behind you to see that a few of the kindred keep shooting you curious glances. One woman in particular, a redhead boasting a fanciful hairstyle, watches you disapprovingly. Some of them already do, I imagine. Excuse me, I need to try to get a word in with a few Primogen members before Kadir returns. Enjoy your night. Just some critical looks of a few kindred to keep you company. You start thinking about who to pursue next. Notice Sophie mingling with the other kindred, clearly in her element, not to be disturbed. Kadir hasn't come back yet, so you can probably still find time for at least one more conversation. Chat up with the man with the glasses. The man notices your attention, but it takes a few minutes before he pauses his mingling for long enough to actually approach him. He looks at you quizzically. Thomas Arturo. Thomas Arturo. Is that your name? I assumed you'd like to know. I know you. My name only, of course. Eric embraced just a few nights ago, huh? Well, how's Andrea treating you? You know, I think I'm beginning to like it. Oh, already? Fast learner, are you? Good attitude to have. It'll take you places. Takes a moment to clean his glasses, completely ignoring you until he's done and puts them back on. I'm sorry, got a bit distracted. You know most of us don't need to wear these, right? I can see just fine without them. But it's a statement. The damn things keep catching specks of dust and other assorted shit, though. Never stay clean for long. Sometimes I think they're more trouble than they're worth, wouldn't you say? Hey, he's a Pokemon. Thomas Arturo. Thomas, use tackle. I don't play Pokemon. Though Corey has certainly enjoyed Palworld recently, and he got a good amount of enjoyment and depth out of Pokemon before. We can give you a full review in our lovely Discord server, and I'm shouting out everyone in the VODs to also jump onto the channel and type in !class to join us and keep hanging out. Spread the word, friendos. There's smut and midnight rants and Jimbles showing you the whole design process of his Venom game is here. It's worth it. They look good on you. Really. You bet they do. Well, alright, that was a nice chat. But I have to catch up with a few other fellows tonight. Talk to you later? Genie, hey Genie! He doesn't even give you a chance to say goodbye. He's already off, grabbing 2 glasses off a concierge's tray and handing one to a mustachioed man nearby. A loud exchange through the staircase grabs everybody's attention. Kadir is back, and the hoodlum is with him. The sheriff pushes his unfortunate victim inside the room. The vampire that threatened you last night is a mess. His stupid hat is still explicitly on his head, covering some of his ruined face in welcome shadow. He's barely conscious. His shin is broken, you think. Something protruding there making the plant leg bulge. One arm seems twisted at a strange angle. Very little blood, surprisingly, but clearly a whole lot of hurt. Well, Kitty, did our guest cooperate? Tell the prince your name. It's Howard. And who do you run with, Howard? The Midnighters. An anarch coterie, my prince, active for some time now. Though, from what this one told me, the name is about the only legacy the group has kept over the years. I see. Hey, Prince, I didn't mean it. I didn't know. I didn't... Loud crack makes some of the guests audibly gasp. As Kitty ears slap dislocates the man's jaw. A spray of blood creates something like an abstract art piece on the floor. This one is guilty of threatening a member of the Camarilla and claiming a domain without the prince's approval. That alone will be enough to pass swift judgment, yet he is also anarch scum. My prince, there can be only one verdict. Final death. Do your duty, Sheriff. Yes, of course, someone would like a play at being a good Samaritan like a Miss Langley a few nights ago. The look the prince serves you in Sophie is a cruel jest. Sophie takes it gracefully, smiling and slipping her arm under yours in a strange public show of affection. Nobody says anything. A vampire named Howard jumps to his feet and makes for the window. Celerity, grab Howard. In a split second you make your choice. Focusing your blood, you dash forward and grab Howard by the back of his jumpsuit, pulling him away from the window. You expect some resistance, but you find you don't have to worry about it when a swift cut separates Howard's head from his body. You let go, and the headless corpse slumps to the ground. Kadir is standing between you and the window, his sword drawn and an ugly smile on his face. Well, Eric, your eagerness is laudable, if unnecessary. That Howard fellow couldn't have hoped to escape his fate, not facing Kadir's expertise. However, I have made note of this show of loyalty on both your and your patron's accounts. I'd like to thank Miss Langley for bringing this anarch thug to my and Kadir's attention. I assume all have found the verdict satisfactory? It's a rhetorical question and everybody here knows it. Then I consider tonight's meeting concluded. Good night to all of you. She steps out of the room and you see that many of the guests move to do the same. Sophie seems to be conversing with somebody, a serious-looking man in a trench coat, about what transpired. Probably the time to strike up a conversation of your own too. Kadir Al-Azmai is still here for one, but clearly getting ready to leave. Both Larson and Arturo seem to have stayed around too. One is still moping around, the other chatting with the remaining attendants, as if nothing happened in the meantime. Talk to Kadir. The sheriff's mood seems to have improved, so you decide you won't get a better shot at saying your piece. He is just sheathing his sword as you approach him. He notices you just before his face turns from a melancholic frown back to his regular predatory smirk. You seem to have caught him in a moment of reflection. What is it, Eric? Impressive work tonight. I just wanted to say that your work tonight was impressive. It was over in a blink of an eye. The smirk widens. He's clearly happy with himself. A fan of my handiwork. Interesting. You were this close to experiencing it firsthand. I would have thought you'd get some nasty flashbacks. Still, I have to admit I was surprised as the prince when you jumped at the opportunity to stop that anarch from escaping. I was sure Valerie would have beat you to it. If there's nothing else, I'll be taking my leave. Why do you have to be so mean? Smile and chuckle. Genuine? Good night, fledgling. Watch yourself. You've messed up my batting average, so I'll be sure to keep a close eye on you. That final threat, he leaves the gallery. It's right about when Sophie also ends her conversation and walks over to you. Interesting evening, wasn't it? Come, Gregory's waiting downstairs. She seems preoccupied with something and not in a talkative mood. It's an awkward ride back to the city. This time you arrive at another building, 2 streets across from your apartment. She brings you upstairs, through a very nice lobby and a luxurious looking hall into her domain. Please have a seat. I shall be right with you. You take in your surroundings. The apartment is like a gallery. An old school smoking room that you've seen in some period piece once, and a nouveau riche's living room meticulously combined together. Apologies, old habits die hard. Clearly, some stick with you even after your death. She drags her cigarette and breathes out. Breathes. How is she doing that? Can you do that? Oh, yeah. You might not know. It takes some practice, but you can keep smoking if you'd like. Other things, too. Experiment. You might surprise yourself. But I did not bring you here to show off. This is where I rest these nights. That door in the back, the bedroom. Similar to yours. I have servants and bodyguards in addition, of course. I brought you here because I need you to trust me. When I told you before that I needed your best behavior to uphold my good standing with the court, I meant it. But it's not the whole story. I have your interests in mind too. That's why I've given you your own haven, where I'm trying to teach you how to navigate this new reality. But you need to trust me, or else this won't work. You can come here whenever you feel like asking me something, whenever you're in trouble too, though I hope that won't happen often. I would ask you to come here when you wake up tomorrow. I'll have something to discuss with you. Why not talk right now since we're here together? I still need to follow up on a few things before we speak. Patience, fledgling. That silence again. There's definitely something on Sophie's mind tonight, but she doesn't seem eager to share it with you just yet. I'm leaving for another visit. Come downstairs with me. We'll give you a lift. Quick trip. I promise you'll show up tomorrow and some polite goodbyes later and you open the door to your haven and gather your thoughts. It's exciting, in a way, being dragged deeper and deeper into this secret society and its rules. Whatever Sophie has planned for you, it's bound to teach you more about this thing you have become. You sink into your vampiric sleep with just a sliver of hope. It's a welcome change. Once more, darkness falls upon the city. You wake up, same as you have for the past few nights in a windowless room. As you pry open the reinforced steel door, you look out the window to see, invariably, the sky bereft of sunlight. And then it hits you. The hunger. For a moment, you let yourself wonder if there will ever come a night where it's just not there. Given what you've learned thus far, you probably have as much chance of kick-starting your heart with jumper cables. Lock the door behind you and head over to Sophie's apartment. You did promise to call on her. Might as well not keep the lady waiting. And hey, what else are you going to do? Call Jess? Yeah, right. What would you tell her? If she even picked up at all, she'd probably use the opportunity to stick more needles into you. Or worse, persuade you to come back. Go back to work? Yeah, who are we kidding? HR probably found a replacement the day after you went missing. Nobody there cares if you got kidnapped or turned into a creature of the night. These thoughts put you in a weird mood. It's a strange sensation to walk the crowded streets, same as you have so many times before, but feeling so disconnected. All these people. You're not one of them, not anymore. You're a vampire, kindred, and you need to carve your own path in this strange new existence, one way or another. Appropriately enough, you arrive at Sophie's building just as that thought crosses your mind. Quick word with the security guard and you're led into the elevator. Apparently, Ms. Langley is expecting you. Of course she is. Enjoy. Glad to have you back, Kat. I hope you've... And Kat, I'm glad you're feeling better. A little better from COVID. You're recovering. No longer as ghostly as before. That's Wraith. We're doing vampire tonight. You knock and wait patiently as the footsteps on the other side grow closer. Finally, the door opens and Gregory, Sophie's driver, invites you in. You find the lady herself is standing by the window, silhouetted against the city's midnight glow. She stares out, motionless, like a marble statue. Hey, am I interrupting something? She doesn't react immediately, but seems to snap out of some meditative state and looks at you with strangely bleary eyes. Yes, yes, you are, but that's all right. I've been meaning to ask you something. When you look out at this city, when you see the lights, hear the hum, smell the rain on the pavement, what do you think about? You gaze out. The lights and rain, the relentless honking below, music blasting from a nearby window, echoing off of buildings. Someone should record an hour of this and throw it up on YouTube as an ambient piece. Other than that, though, it's business as usual. The sights, the sounds, the smells, you know them all too well. Sophie watches you. You can tell she's disappointed somehow, but she covers it up with a courteous smile. Well, not everyone can appreciate the intricacies that the world offers. In fact, among kindred, my clan is somewhat notorious for finding innate meaning even in the mundane. You see, the blood that flows within me is that of Clan Toreador. There are 13 such bloodlines among us kindred, though that number has been contested in the past, and these nights it seems that nothing is certain anymore. The clans have gone by many epithets over the years, but the names used these nights have their roots in medieval times. The original Inquisition, if you can believe it. They use these to categorize us, describe our inherent differences. In time, we adopted them ourselves. Each clan has a uniqueness about it, inescapable, originating from ancient progenitors, carried from sire to child. For Toreador, the gift lies in a sensitivity of sorts. We are uniquely attuned to beauty and ugliness both. We can see either where most cannot. A blessing on most nights, occasionally a curse. The sheriff is of my clan as well, though you'd be hard-pressed to see him as such. Poor Kadir. Breaks my heart to see him in this state. Still, there is a beauty to it as well, nothing like a good fall from grace. Try as she might to act playful, you can tell she genuinely cares. She lets the gaze wander for a brief moment, but is quick to regain her composure. And there are the Ventru, known for their pride and proclivity to rule over others. The prince represents that clan, as is quite common in our society around the globe. Where the blue bloods think themselves rulers, the Bruya like to see themselves as preeminent revolutionaries, a call for universal rebellion while being slaves to their own temper. We don't discuss the rabble much anymore, not after they've largely broken off with Camarilla. To think they were philosophers once, long ago. Hope to tell you more about some of the other bloodlines tonight. What? Do you know what my clan is? No. Can only guess it based on certain aspects of your behavior and tastes. You need to come to your own conclusion and seek validation from your clanmates, if you require such a thing. As you no doubt learn, some kindred fit these stereotypes more than others. Their blood is hard to deny, though there are certainly those who try. But that is perhaps a subject for another time. I invited you here for a reason. There's something I wanted to speak to you about. It's customary in our society, especially among younger kindred, to organize into coteries. Sometimes these are called by the prince themselves or mandated by a fledgling sire. In that case, you may treat it as more of a strong recommendation, urging you to seek out companions. Not only because you need to learn more about our society, but also because it is useful. True friendships are rare among kindred, but having allies, even temporary ones, is something of a necessity these nights. We might be selfish creatures, but we are drawn to each other nonetheless. So tell me, are you part of a coterie? Any close allies? I do have those I trust enough to work with. Yes, not a coterie exactly, though I have joined several of those over the years. Not in over a century, though. You, however, you'll do well to meet some of the city's younger kindred and see if you can find a connection. It's an essential experience for one so young. She puts on a mysterious smile. I spent some of my precious time last night asking around, pondering potential kindred for you to meet. Came up with a short list of contacts. I hope you'll appreciate the gesture. Forging a partnership with them might offer perspectives and viewpoints that I cannot provide, lenses through which to view our kind. They're all members of the Camarilla, of course. More or less. Alright then, let's hear it. Who's on the list? Eager to learn about them, I see. Good. I'm glad. So let's start with the Tremere. They are a powerful clan, disliked by many, but feared and respected by more. They have been an important pillar of the Camarilla since the very beginning. They are the blood sorcerers. Look at Sophie with a hint of disbelief. Blood sorcerers. Pretty sure Mark from QA used to brag about having a level 70 blood sorcerer. Somehow you didn't think he meant magical vampires? Sophie snickers. Oh, child, don't be caught with that look in your face when you meet a warlock in person. They're quite adept at using vitae, their own, as well as others, to unique and potent effects. Since they are quite rigid in their hierarchy, the kindred I admire might need some persuading. His name is Agathian. From what I hear, he is quite a scholar, very ambitious. A child of a noted Tremere here in New York, Aisling Sturbridge. Spend enough time with Agathian, I'm sure you'll run into her sooner or later. Blood magic. The whole blood magic thing sounded intriguing. Oh yeah, fascinating. It's a well-kept secret of the Tremere. Don't expect them to share it right away. Some things have to be earned. Anyway, if you wish to contract a young Tremere, I hear you can usually find him in a New Age bookstore out on Broadway. Tremere will have one of their workshops there. Gregory will give you the details. Now, this next recommendation comes with a bit of a caveat. As you recall me saying, most bloodlines have unique features that may not be obvious at first glance. Well, there's one clan whose members wear their curse on their sleeve. The Nosferatu. What's with the goofy names? I guess they're really big on blue oyster cult. No wonder they make their havens in sewers, abandoned buildings and such. Their appearance is hideous and obviously unnatural. Had they walked the streets like other kindred, that kind would have learned of our existence long ago. Did she just shut up? It's hard to tell with her usual complexion. You could swear her skin suddenly took on an even more sickly color. The one I have in mind isn't as big as an eye sore as the worst of them, but he is no Adonis either. Still, he has some talents and connections you might find useful. His name is D'Angelo, and he has an office, for lack of a better term, in an otherwise abandoned grain terminal in Red Hook. Next to one of those Swedish stores, the name escapes me. The ones with off furniture. Wait, an office? What is he, an insurance agent? He fancies himself a detective, if you can believe it. Thus, he insists on having an office to meet with his clients. Indulge his little charade, it might make him more eager to talk to you. D'Angelo just odd jobs for Kadir, digging up dirt, locating kindred who would prefer to remain hidden. Kind of work the Nosferatu are best at. It's on a case right now, something to do with kind murders, I think. After your initial brush with that dear sheriff, I think it would be wise to show some goodwill towards his agenda. Assisting D'Angelo with his investigation might be just the thing. She takes a brief pause to look out the window again. Now come the two more exotic proposals. Exotic. As if the blood mage and the vampire detective were business as usual. You may have heard about the Gangrel before. They are a wild clan, in touch with their beast in a way that others might not dare to attempt. They mostly keep out of big cities, but there are exceptions. Normally, they haven't been part of the Camarilla for over 2 decades, but the one kindred I'd like you to meet has strong, shall we say, familial ties to the sect. Her name is Tamika. Her sire, Jezebel, was instrumental during the Battle of New York back in 1999. The very same battle that cemented the city as a Camarilla domain. Sadly, her achievements have gone largely unrecognized. Tamika and a number of her siblings still reside on a domain they were awarded after the battle, Prospect Park. Jezebel herself left the city some years ago, fed up with being underappreciated. I got the impression contacting vampires who aren't in the Camarilla was frowned upon. You're saying these Gangrel aren't a part of the sect anymore. How does that work? It's not as clear-cut. Gangrel as a whole have sworn off the Camarilla, but individual kindred of that clan can still hold their own ideals. Jezebel was one of them, before she came jaded. Besides, their domain in Prospect Park has been upheld by Prince Panhard after all these years, has it not? We consider them members of the sect, and they have, for the most part, kept to themselves. Perhaps it would take a young kindred such as yourself to make them realize where their loyalties lie. So, you see, seeking out Tamika could prove quite educational, if nothing else. And who knows, perhaps you will find her tempered to be a welcome change of pace. Yeah, Prince Panhard, baby! Love a good hard pan. Pan hard. Making me crave some pancakes though, right? Pans with cake. Now, speaking as a change of pace, I have one last suggestion for you, though it's one I don't make lightly. The kindred who calls herself Hope. She's a Malkavian. They are a uniquely cursed clan. For centuries, we considered them mad, insane, unhinged, but those who spend enough time with them come to understand the truth. You're the panist Todd? I don't know about that. You making something cool at that boyfriend's house, maybe? Got a lot of hard pans here in chat. There's no sickness, but a unique perception of the world that appear to us as unstable, and that perception can prove to be very valuable. Having a Malkavian as your companion might be taxing on the nerves and a true test of patience at times, but their insight and intuition are unrivaled among kindred. As for Hope specifically, she's said to be a recluse, but I have it on good authority that she can be found in an internet cafe. I believe it's called Lower Manhattan. Gregory has the address. Couple of minutes? That's pretty good. I mean, it is getting late. We're all old. Stands to reason. If you've been panned for longer than 3 hours, see a stream doctor. Truth be told, she doesn't sound like my type. Like I said, if it wasn't for the fact I'd like to get you to know members of different clans and hear their perspectives, Hope wouldn't be on my list necessarily. But if what I heard about her is true, you should at least seek her out and give her a chance. You might be pleasantly surprised. Well, I believe that's all of them. I still have a few social calls to make tonight, so I'll leave you to it. Use tonight and tomorrow night to arrange some cordial visits of your own. We'll send Gregory for you as soon as I have further need of your services. Oh, that reminds me, you will need a car. I fucked up the accent real bad there. Well, that reminds me. You will need a car. Join us downstairs, won't you? Alright, fine. I need to charm more doctors? And maybe we'll get a few, like, non-medical doctors? Some PhD candidates. That's about as close as I'm getting, I gotta say. Not sure how it happened the first time around. I blame Willow. Or credit Willow. One of the two. I saw the stream doctor. Fuck. Well, look, if I'm gonna filk to Ting Tang Walla Walla Bing Bang, I would absolutely have Emma Stitches do it, because she's much better at filking than me. She smiles once more and turns to her driver. He helps her put on her coat, and the three of you leave Sophie's apartment. Sophie points to one of the cars near the building as Gregory hands you the keys. It's a rather inconspicuous compact car, a decent looking, if not luxurious ride. Stay safe, Eric. This is the first night alone. Don't let it be your last. Anyway, Miss Stitches, asking for filking. The nerdy horny dogs hide better. Alright. I'll get him. Turn on my horn dar, I guess? As they drive away, you find yourself with more freedom than you've had for the past few nights. A blessing or a burden? Time will tell. With a list of addresses in hand, you consider your next move. Oh, look at these. Blood Sorcerer. Malkavian. D'Angelo the Nosferatu. Gangrel by the name of Tamika. Hey, does anyone remember Shadows in New York, where we met these people as part of the investigation? Pretty cool, huh? Look at that, they're introduced here better. Well, they're introduced here. I don't know if it's better, we'll see. I want to talk to the Blood Sorcerer. It's a kind of magic. Sophie's mention of a vampire clan of blood sorcerers sparked your attention. One of them, Magathian, could potentially be your introduction to the bizarre powers of the Tremere. You arrive at the address given to you by Sophie, a small bookstore smack dab in the middle of Broadway of all places. What really catches you off guard, though, is the store's display. From what you've heard about the Tremere, they are infamous for their ties to the occult and the mystical. God damn it, comrade. And yet now, looking at the oddball collection of items in the display window, it all feels borderline satirical. Books here cover everything from Ayurvedic practices and homeopathy to wellness and self-motivation. The vaguely amusing juxtapositions don't end there either. You notice a copy of Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible tucked behind a cheap, smiling Buddha. A scientific journal on hematology sits next to a teen-oriented pamphlet on the blood-type personality theory. A number of religious and quasi-religious symbols, lockets, pins, and various emblazoned paraphernalia are haphazardly strewn across the display in between the tomes. Before you can even open the door, you can smell the burning incense and hear the corny Far East tinged music seeping through the crackling speaker mounted above the entrance. It's much more quaint than what you expected from what Sophie told you about these so-called warlocks. It doesn't look like they have much interest in impressing outsiders. And again, if there's anything you've learned about these past few nights, it's that appearances can be deceiving. This time of night, the shop appears to be closed. Regardless, you ring the bell and startle Loxy. You hear someone shuffling around inside. A brief moment later, the latch slides and the door is pushed open just a few inches. A tired-looking blonde in loose clothes appears in the crack. She seems confused, like you just woke her up. She lets out a yawn, scratching at her tattooed neck. Finally, she squints in your general direction. Her pierced lip curves into an awkward smile. I'm looking for a guy named Agathian. Is he around? The girl gives you a suspicious look over, but opens the door. She takes a few steps back, and you hear footsteps coming from behind a floral curtain. No. Agathian. Much more fun. Agathan. Agathan? That sucks. Hey, Captain. Agathan? Fuck off. Meow. Yeah, good boy. Agathan? That's a terrible name. I reject it and substitute it with my own, I gotta tell you. A bespectacled, smart-looking woman emerges and looks straight at you. Come in and follow me. Just don't touch anything, please. You follow her through the store. Inside, as expected, the stuffy air smells of sandalwood, frankincense, and a dozen other aromas. But Jonathan! The woman leads you behind the curtain and through the back door onto a rickety staircase. A flight of steps takes you up to the second story. You instantly notice a change in decor as a tacky new age bookstore gives way to something resembling a cross between a library and a workshop. The smell here is strong too, but much more layered. You're not sure what to make of it at first, but with each whiff it becomes apparent. Blood. The aroma, though subtle at first, soon becomes overpowering. It takes you a moment to adapt and focus. I don't think you know who you're speaking with, so an introduction is in order. My name is Aisling Sturbridge, and I am the High Regent of the Chantry of the Five Boroughs. You are Eric, correct? I have to say, you're lucky the ward outside the building is only there for the notifications tonight. Otherwise it would have been quite unpleasant. Sleep tight, Miss Stitches. I'll see you soon. Ah, Ashlyn. Thanks, I can do that. To answer your question, Agathian is here, but he's hard at work and I wouldn't want to disturb him. Might I understand this is a social visit? High Regent of the Chantry? The Five Boroughs? That's quite a mouthful. It might sound fancy, but that's because that's a well-established tradition behind it. One you'd be wise not to ridicule. Some might take offense. Me, for one. What is it that you're here for? I heard some good things about Agathian. thought I'd drop in and see how much of it was true. Hmm. Appealing to her vanity, how very original. You better step up your game, fledgling, or New York will eat you right up. Suddenly, a man enters from a side room. He doesn't even look at you, lost in his own thoughts. I have it, Ashley. I think I know how to find it. He catches himself as he notices you. His face turns sour. Visitor? Yes, we were just discussing you, in fact. Is that so? Let me introduce myself. My name is Eric. I've been told you might be interested in teaming up. Teaming up? Seems very confused by the notion. What for? Well, I could use your knowledge. I'm new here, and a scholar like yourself could teach me a lot, I imagine. You're not wrong. He turns to Aisling. Hi, Regent, may I ask your advice on this? Aisling looks at you with nary sign of emotion. I believe that you have far more pressing matters to attend to at the moment, my child. That is my intuition as well, High Regent. It's settled then. I would kindly ask that you leave, fledgling. We have many matters to discuss. Matters not meant for undiscerning ears. Both of the Warlocks look at you expectantly. Yeah, you know what? Fuck you and fuck your manners. The way I see it, you two pompous pricks can take your scented oils and your magical beads and shove them up your asses. Have fun, assholes. Munch out past the slack-jawed Aisling, who stops the infuriated Agathian with a gesture. For what it's worth, that's the most emotion you managed to get out of him since you got there. Storm down the stairs and bust the blonde at the desk, startling her out of a nap. As you leave the musty bookstore, you slam the door behind you. I just got an achievement for failing to recruit someone to my coterie. That's one friendship you won't have a chance to nurture. For some reason, it doesn't feel like a huge loss. These particular vampires seem like insufferable douchebags. Nice. You notice something strange by the front door of your haven. A letter's been slipped under the door in a cream-colored old-fashioned envelope. There's no name on it, but you know it's meant for you. Opening the letter, it's clear it's been sent by someone incredibly old-fashioned, rich, or a fan of classic stationery. No normal person sends letters like this. The note is short and terse, written in elegant, delicate handwriting. You're cordially invited to a rendezvous at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. I'll be waiting to make your acquaintance tomorrow night. Look for me, closer to God. There's no other information. Looks like you have a mysterious invitation for the following night. There you go. Jezebel's child. Sophie mentioned a gang called Neonate by the name of Tamako, who's made itself a haven in Prospect Park. The Ferals aren't exactly a social bunch, even by kindred standards, but if you can keep her from clawing your eyes out just long enough, she might be persuaded to join you. What if we go talk to him again? Wait, no, there you go. Well, we should go do that then. Faith and Myth, Part 1. Actually, you know what? Let's call it a little bit early, to be honest. Yes, it is 5 minutes towards the end of the night, but I am tired. I have been up since way earlier than normal. 7 in the morning. That's incredible. Good God. So I will take the opportunity to sleep. Now, I want to remind you that it is, in fact, February 14th, Valentine's Day, this Wednesday. So in 2 days' time, I will not actually be streaming more Final Fantasy X. As much as I love your company and love Final Fantasy X, I'll be spending it with someone else I love. My apologies. This opportunity only comes every year, but still, celebrate things. So that means you will be bereft of my beautiful voice and beautiful face and Final Fantasy X. So you'll have to join me again next Monday night. Now I will also be like out of town on Thursday evening, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Otherwise, I would consider perhaps like doing a bonus stream in return, but time, like everything, eludes us, so we will have to entertain ourselves. Look, hey, Hermit, how about we split the difference and you send me photos of you indulging in the too horny emote that Comrade has sent, with all of you entertaining yourselves. Sounds good? And then when I get back in town, we will all entertain you. We will all entertain each other together. And remember, we have a lovely, lovely Discord server that you can get to by typing !class. The bot will send you a PM, which just helps. It means it's much harder to be scraped by random services on the internet. And then you can join us there. Oh, Willow, I certainly hope I have been. And I certainly hope I'll be back to entertain you again next Monday with either more Baldur's Gate or some more Vampire Coteries of New York. It's excellent. Oh, Larksy, good filk. I like that. Otherwise, be nice to yourselves, be nice to each other, and by God, tell the people you love that you love them very much. It's going well for me. Good night, everybody.